That's what I get for stopping the talk.
So much energy in the room. That's the conservation and ecological systems are a big issue. The survival versus
I want to take the two residential ones and do those first, just to get these people out of here. As long as you promise not to belabor it. Okay. All right, I'll call to order the Wednesday, September 7th, 2022 meeting of the Wethersfield Planning and Zoning Commission. Joe, would you please call the roll?
Sure. Rich Roberts, Ryan Allard, not here. Joe Hammer here. Jim Hughes. Yes. George Oikel.
Here.
Tom Deane.
Here.
Tony Homicki. I think he's arriving later. Dave Edwards. Michael Vieira. David Drake. Peter Lambruni.
Here.
Paul Thompson.
Okay. So that's 6 regular members, 5 regular members, and I'll seat Peter. And if other people attend, I'll seat them until we get up to 9. We have 6 public hearing items tonight, and the way we're going to run it is we're going to do each public hearing. The applicant will come up, make their presentation. The commission may have questions for the applicant. After we finish going back and forth between the commission and the applicant, we'll open it up to members of the public who may have comments or questions on the application. Following the public input portion of the hearing, we'll invite the applicant back up to respond to any of the comments, provide additional information and so forth, and there may be, more back and forth with the commission members at that point. If then we think we have enough information to make a decision on the application tonight, we'll close the public hearing, have the discussion, the deliberations, and potentially vote. If for whatever reason there are sufficient open questions or information that we still need in order to appropriately evaluate the application, we may continue the hearing to our next meeting, which would be September 20th. But in any case, you'll know what's happening as we go along tonight. Apologize to everybody for kind of the heavy agenda. It gets that way certain times of the year, and I would say just basically out of courtesy to the 2 residential applicants on here, which I think we can hopefully dispose of relatively quickly, I would ask if somebody wants to make a motion to take items 3.3 and 3.4 up at the beginning ahead of 3.1.
Sure, I so move.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, so the first one we'll hear is 3.3, public hearing 21-18-22Z, John R. Tucenyant, seeking a special permit in accordance with section 36C, accessory buildings and structures, residential outbuildings, for a shed larger than permitted at 114 Goodwin Park Road. If there's somebody here on behalf of the applicant, please come on up. Just identify yourself by name and address for the record and tell us what it is that you'd like to do.
Here.
And I apologize for getting your name wrong.
Oh, that's okay. It's pronounced Tousignant. Very easy. Like number 2, Signant.
Okay.
Easy enough. Good evening, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Tousignant. My address is 114 Goodwin Park Road, of course, Wethersfield, Connecticut. And my sorry, I'm a little nervous. My goal is to have a shed/garage, so I may store my car in it in the winter. There are garages on my road equal size. This house, this is going to be built by the barnyard, and it's going to be dropped off once approved by the town, hopefully.
Okay. Yeah, and your materials say that it's 240 feet, 200 feet. You wouldn't even have to come here, but it's 240, so.
Correct, 240
That's why
square
you're
feet.
here. It's located at least 6 feet from the side yard, so it complies with that. Does anybody on the commission have any questions? Peter?
Yeah, I was a little confused, about this is a garage or a shed or both?
It's, the barnyard calls it a shed, but you can't put a car in, so it'd be a garage.
So, because I see that you have your overhead door
Oh,
there.
yeah, do you want, I have some pictures here?
Yeah, no, we have pictures
Okay.
here, so I'm looking at that right now. So Denise, if this is a garage, it's certainly a lot bigger than 200 square feet for a garage, right? For a detached, self-standing garage.
We allow 850 square feet.
Right, so in essence, this is kind of like in between the two. Like, you could almost call it a garage, right?
I mean, he was intending to use it as a shed, and that's how it was being proposed through the building department. That's how it ended up
All right,
coming
all right.
before planning and zoning.
All right.
All right.
In
But if
any
you'd called it a
case-
garage, he wouldn't be here.
Exactly, if it was a
Okay.
garage, it could have been called a garage, I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time that I heard of a storage of a vehicle in it.
Okay,
Okay,
all right.
all right.
And the floor is adequate for storing the car?
By barnyard standards, yes, sir. That is correct.
Because it's a wooden floor, right?
Correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Want to make sure your wheels don't fall through.
No, that would not,
Can't come out.
that would be, but according to the barnyard specifications, that it can and will hold
You can hold
it.
the car. Okay,
Correct.
all right.
Do you have a driveway that goes that far back?
Yes, yes, sir, I do.
Okay.
This will be placed down, right? No piers or anything? Is it just freestanding, or is it secured to the ground?
I'm not sure. It's gonna be they're gonna come in if once approved. They're gonna come in once approved, and they're gonna have, put like this, stone gravel down. And they're gonna grade it out, and then they're gonna put the garage / shed on top of that.
Okay.
So I guess, is freestanding, I believe freestanding, it will not be, tied to the ground.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. Is there anybody in the public that has any comments on this application? Going once? Okay. All right. Someone want to make a motion to close the hearing?
Make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to close the hearing.
All right. Motion by George, second by Jim to close the hearing. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Someone want to make a motion on the application?
I make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to approve this application. Let's see, it would be number 211922Z,
No, the other one,
Eight.
George, the one above that.
2118.
2118, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
apologize.
You can save that for the next one.
Right.
All right.
I'll second the
All right.
motion.
Motion by George, second by Peter. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and members of the board. Thank you.
Okay.
Am I dismissed?
Yes, you're free to go. Next item, 3.4, public hearing, 2119-22Z. I'll annoy someone else by saying their name wrong. John Forestieri, seeking a special permit in accordance with Section 36C, Accessory Buildings and Structures, residential outbuildings of the Wethersfield Zoning Regulations for a tool shed larger than permitted at 29 Cross Hill. Okay,
John Forster, 29 Cross Hill Road, Wethersfield.
okay.
And I'm also looking for, to put a shed that's over 200 square feet. It's actually 240 square feet, so just a little bit above it on my property. Strictly a shed, not garage.
Okay. And you're also keeping the barnyard in business?
Yes,
here?
yes, also from the barnyard.
All right, George?
Yeah, I went out and looked at this one, and
Yep.
the Joe Hickey is around the corner, so I go up and see him too. But the point is that you have such a large yard, and this neighborhood has such large lots, that there's no problem with the distance between you and any of your neighbors. Even with or without some shrubbery, and you do have some around it.
Yes.
No, there's no problem whatsoever with this location. It's not near anything else back there in that corner.
Yeah, it's pretty isolated back there.
Peter?
I'm just curious, these are all standard dimensions? I mean, it seems like everybody's asking for 240, and we got regulations of 200. It must be that it's hard to have something around 200, or did you want something bigger, or is that what they have? I'm curious what this 240 number keeps coming up, you know?
Yeah, I didn't, it's just the size that I preferred. I found out after the fact that 200 was the limit
Ah, okay.
for the town, but I wanted to go a little bit bigger, not huge, but just a little bit, so I fortunately found out after the fact, but
This is in place already?
no,
Oh, okay.
no. They just did the excavation for the pad,
Okay,
but the shed is not there yet.
okay.
I'm waiting to get the approval before I...
All right.
Thank you. Anybody else? Before I open it up to the public, we did get a piece of correspondence on this from Douglas and Nancy Robertson, who live near there and are in full support, and say the property is impeccably maintained and a shed of any size would be welcome. Is there anybody in the public that wants to comment on this application? Anybody else? Okay, if not, someone want to close the hearing?
Make a motion to close.
Second.
All right, motion by Jim, second by Peter to close the public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, hearing's closed. George, you want to make the motion?
Yes, make a motion, I hope I can get the right one.
Yeah, you got the number right.
2,119.22Z, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second again.
All right, motion by George, second by Peter to approve. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? All right,
You tell the
congratulations.
company that
Thank you.
Wethersfield is giving them all sorts of business.
Yes, I found that out. There's quite a few from them.
Yeah, I mean, we may want to change the limit to 250 just to save 7 minutes of our meeting
Here you
here.
go. Thank you. Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
take care.
Reminds me of that guy that ordered the 200-square-foot shed, and then his father wanted to surprise him by getting a bigger one, so he had to come here, and he didn't know it. All right, now back to the regular order. First, 3.1, 2115-22Z, Larrisa Lake and Antonio Lenoci seeking a special permit and site plan and design plan review in accordance with sections 52F2 outdoor dining, 58 alcoholic beverages, and 510 mixed residential and commercial uses of the Wethersfield Zoning Regulations for the sale of alcoholic beverages and a change of use from residential to mixed use at 164, 166 Main Street. I will hand the gavel to Commissioner Hammer for this one. I have to recuse myself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Larrisa Lake. I'm from 443 Woodland Street in South Glastonbury, and this is my support system.
Antonio.
And the hands behind the project. We are seeking a special permit and site plan and design plan review for our property at 164, 166 Main Street. We are requesting a change of use from residential to mixed use, whereas a portion of the building would have seasonal outdoor dining and the sale of alcohol would be permitted. The concept for the main house was inspired by my grandmother. We used to go for afternoon tea all the time when I was a child. So when we purchased this property, months later, I was staring at the porch and I'm like, wow, it would be awesome to sip tea and be on this house and doing that. So hence why we're here today. Within the approximate 5,000 square foot building, we propose to house the following. The first part of the main house would be the tea house. It's okay. You got it?
Yeah, that
Can
one
you
is it. You
blow
just
it
gotta
up a
blow
little bit?
I can't see.
You want me to move?
Same thing. There we go.
There we go. But you just have
Just-
to enlarge it.
Yeah, can you tell me where I hit the box? It should be at one next one over. Next one. There you go. There you go.
And then just scroll up.
Here. Where did it go?
Where did it go?
Is it here?
You're gonna have to do it for this side.
Do you to change it to the next?
Yeah, you could roll.
Oh, from here?
Yeah.
Perfect.
F11. Thank you.
So you gotta scroll.
Okay.
Okay.
You got it?
Here we go. Okay. So I'm sure you all have seen this house. Let me go to where we're planning. That is it right there. Okay. So tenant space 1 would be the tea house, some retail, and my current spa. Right now, 2 doors down, I have the spa above our salon, and we would like to be moving to the other, this space right here. And then I also own a boutique down the street on Main Street that we would like to take from that location and bring it here as well, and then incorporate the tea house. The boutique currently has 1 employee and usually 1 customer at a time. Moving forward, we don't anticipate this to increase as the retail space within the new property is close to the same square footage as it is now. We will be incorporating a new concept to complement our boutique with a grab-and-go sit-yourself cafe, which will offer teas, coffee, desserts, served mimosas, and specialty tea-inspired cocktails, and light fare. By fare, I mean like tea sandwiches, prepped within our prep kitchen. At specific times throughout the week, we will offer traditional seated afternoon tea with reservations for individuals and small parties. We are requesting seasonal outdoor seating along the patio and the front porch. We will have an informal walk-up window as well. Casual seating will be mixed throughout the retail space in the form of couches, small chairs, and side tables. Specifically for tea time, we will arrange actual round tables and chairs in our relaxation room and/or on the first floor if needed. Our spa will be operating as it does now on the 2nd floor of our salon, no changes to our daily operations. Our hours will be by appointment for the spa and typically 8 to 8 Monday through Friday, Saturday 8 to 3, and closed Sundays except for afternoon tea reservations. So that takes care of the first main building.
I wish we had.
No, I know, it's okay.
Point.
The tenant
down.
space 2 is that square or rectangular piece, no, go back. Yep, the rectangular piece with the window boxes. That's going to be owned and operated by a doctor that's currently in Glastonbury and is going to be moving to this location, provided it's approved. She is a primary care and integrative medicine wellness office. She would be sharing an ADA unisex bathroom with tenant 3, which is the small building, or not building.
You can use the mouse.
Yeah. Use
Oh,
the
I
mouse.
can?
Yeah,
Oh.
just slide it over. That's what I was trying to
I'm
tell you.
not very technically savvy, so can you, I can't
you
even
see it?
see the mouse. Okay, this
Want me to
part
do it?
right here is going to be tenant 3, but tenant 2 is the one next to it. Tenant 3 would be either a bakery or a retail space. We've had a couple people inquire about renting it out as a bakery, so we're leaning towards that. The square footage is 397 square feet. The hours, we would assume, would be 8 to 6 and closed on Sundays. They would have a shared ADA unisex bathroom. And the last space would be right above the bakery, that small little roof line up top. That is the apartment, so we would still want to have some sort of residential component in this building. The square footage is approximately 344 square feet. It would be a studio apartment for a single or a couple, and the parking for the tenant would be in the existing driveway.
Which is here.
Yep. We feel this is a unique project and will be a great asset to the ever-evolving Village Business District, the community, as well as add on to the historic charm along Main Street. Thank you for your consideration, and then any specific questions relating to engineering or drainage, our civil engineer, Ozzy, will be able to answer that.
Well, that was the best part, was the parking lot.
That's his part.
Yeah, right here.
No, it's not there.
Not on this one?
No.
Where's that key guy?
You sent
We
them the
can,
plan.
Oh, yeah.
we can take this up. I don't know the best
Yeah,
way to
because
do
he's
that.
got the board, right? You have a board?
I got the board.
You want to email it and we could just broadcast it through here?
I think he has it,
Okay.
yeah.
He has,
He has it.
It's on the desktop? 245. Oh, right there, that one?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, is it this one?
or that one?
I opened this one.
So maybe it's that one.
This one right here. Yeah. So we just have to enlarge that.
F1?
I can't see it.
Oh, right there, right there. No, that was the next one. Yeah, the next one over.
Maybe you should come up here.
no, as soon as you find.
There you go.
There you go.
Thank you so much. All
Okay.
right.
Can you move that?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
I'll
will
take
do
this out. We
that.
don't
I'll
need
do
this.
is I'll work on it this direction. Right. Wow, this thing moves fast. Okay. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Ozzy Torres, for the record, I'm a professional engineer, and I did the engineering for the project. My office at 63 Reed Drive, Wethersfield, Connecticut. Now, if I scroll, I get the next page?
Yeah, right there, down in that corner. Right, they're right here. Right there?
Right there?
No, here. This is through that with the other side.
Just go show me the screen, it'll be easier.
I'll
You run the machine.
I'll run the machine.
You run the machine.
I'm good at running machines.
All right. Yeah, but I gotta be able to see.
Okay, you stand over there and I'll stand over here.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Where's the next one?
Scroll down? No, it just goes in
It just
Now
keeps,
just go down.
okay.
there. There you go. Okay, good.
You want to start with this one or?
No, go one before it, the survey.
Oh,
There it is,
oh, right there.
right there. Okay. So the parcel is gonna include all the parcels from your salon, which is 144?
146.
146, all the way across to the new building on the northwest side, there, right there, that
Yeah.
new building. And all those parcels. So we're gonna be coming in from Main Street at the entrance of the drive and turning and going into this area. And so we were asked by the engineering department, or Mr. Mills, to provide a lot more survey information, so this one has been revised completely. It shows all of the spot elevations. They were looking for more topo along the outside edges. We did that.
Mhm.
And we also located the parking and the building in the salon
Mm-hmm.
parcel over here on that side, yes. So it pretty much covered all the comments on that first review notice from the planning department. Next, there you go.
Sorry.
Okay, good. Okay, so we were asked, this is the demolition plan?
Sorry.
And
Which one you want to go to? Sorry.
the second one, that was good.
Okay.
Okay. So this still, it's showing the salon parcel with a proposed easement for entry into it and to be used by all the parties.
Mhm.
And that will be recorded in the land records. And
Mhm.
they asked us to put it on all the plans, so it shows up here on the demo plan. If you go over to your right to the new building.
Yep.
Okay. That area in there is, we're demolishing existing pavement and then a portion of that building, which you're pointing at right now.
840 squares.
Okay, so that's going to get removed as well as the pavement below it.
Mm-hmm.
And it will be replaced with all the new work that we're going on now. If you go to the bottom corner of there's a shed
Yep.
in the corner.
Yep.
That's getting removed as well, so it's
Yep.
all part of this demolition plan. Okay? Okay, now you can turn.
What are
to
you
the
doing with all the white area back there?
next- What?
Next slide.
Next
Sorry.
slide.
Show the next slide.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, it's a parking lot.
Thank you.
So, okay, so go to the one before that?
No.
Oh, that's it?
That's
Okay,
it.
Fine. All right, so
if I
here
could
it is.
ask, so the entrance is only gonna be at the easement?
Right here.
Yes.
The other side is gonna not be a car entrance?
No, it's just gonna be for tenants. You know, how there's an existing driveway now? There'll be 2 cars parked there in the front.
All right, so that's for the residential
Yes,
use.
yes,
And the
And
patio.
the commercial
to-
use comes on
Right
the
here.
easement side?
yes, right here.
Excuse me, and the parking in the front for those 2 cars, the print's pretty tight. Side by side or back?
Back to back.
Okay, yep, that's what I thought.
You're talking about the new building area.
Yeah, the existing driveway.
Right, great. Okay, so if we go back to the beginning where we drive in, no.
Oh,
same
sorry,
plan.
right here.
We're driving in from Main
Yeah.
Street, we were asked, okay, we go to the entrance.
Yep.
We were asked to put a sign 25 feet to the south of that entrance, right there.
Yep,
Basically to say no parking.
no parking.
So there's, and then you cannot park beyond that
Right here.
driveway to the crosswalk of the next street. And that is for the purpose of sight distance, so that when you're trying to enter or leave the parcel,
You'll be able to
you'll be
see
able to see in either direction,
left or right.
okay? So we did that. Also, we were asked to put some signs along the street saying that there's parking in the rear for all of these uses, and those signs have been shown on the plan. They're all pretty much all over the place, so you're not gonna find
Yeah.
them.
But
they're there.
customer use only.
And it's basically saying, parking for this use, that use.
Mhm.
The signs are up, and they're shown on the plan, and these were, again, part of the original list of items to be revised, and we did so, okay? All right, if we continue on down through the drive, so the circulation, and you were asking that they're gonna come in, how are they gonna get around? Basically, the circulation will be coming down this drive here, and then, first of all, there's a dumpster in the corner right below it there, and we're gonna angle it a little more so.
The truck could come like
pull in,
this and go like
pull
that.
in, pick it up, back up a little bit, go into your new driveway, and then back.
Go back?
Yeah, just back up into that dumpster area and then drive out forward. I might have to do that.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the truck would come in, pick up the dumpster, go back a little ways, back into here, turn around, back into here, and then take off. Got it?
Yeah.
So that's how we're gonna get the circulation back to that dumpster. And then anyone who drives in and is looking for a parking space and finds that they're all full, goes all the way to the end, and we have that area that's striped right there, right there below, to the right of you. That area right there is striped so that it's a turnaround for any car coming in, needing to get back out again. Also
Can I ask
emergency.
a question?
Yes.
I think this would be appropriate time to do that.
Yes.
I think it was a town engineer, had a comment about 10 parallel spaces located
Right,
along the
that
east
was
side
an
of the
original, I'm sorry.
drive. Is that been
Yes, it has been changed.
reconfigured now?
It's been
Can
reconfigured.
you show us what
Yes.
happened there?
Along the east edge of your parking lot, Tony, down at the bottom, those spaces were parallel at one time, and we had all the parking on the other side. And he suggested to get rid of those spaces and widen the whole lot, and that's what we ended up doing, and putting parking on both sides with a 22-foot aisle in the middle. So that's gone. That was an original plan that he had reviewed, and he suggested not putting those parallel spaces there, and we did that. We got rid of them.
All right.
Okay? All right. Now, in addition to all of this, we were asked to show the difference between the parking lot and the patio. That's it, the patio pavers, but they're all pervious pavers, am I correct?
This one is not pervious, no.
Okay, so the parking
This is
lot
all
is all
pervious.
pervious pavers, which will collect all the runoff and go down into the ground, and we'll get into that on the next sheet. So if you go to the next sheet. Okay, that one. All right. So this plan shows the drainage, which is the parking lot, and it has a long pipe along the middle, as you can see it down there. Right. We were asked to make that flat and perforated so that it would help in the recharging of the water, so we did that. We made it all flat. We were asked to take all the drainage that runs around the building, just point around your new building, yeah, all the way around. Right. All of that drainage, we calculated and submitted calculations to the engineering department, and they felt there wasn't enough cover, so we provided more cover and completely ran those calculations, submitted it back to them for their review. So they have all that in answer to their original questions. One major issue was this overflow structure. On our first design, we did not have one. Here we do have one. Tony, if you go up to the end, up there, they're right there in the corner, excellent. That is a manhole basically with a weir on it, and there's nothing for water to get through that weir but until it floods the parking lot, if it ever floods the parking lot, and it would go over the top of that and then spill into the street storm system. So that's our overflow. I gave them all the calculations about how it would work, and it would be for anything over the 100-year storm. If you point down to the bottom, Tony, where yes, that corner catch basin right there. The top of frame of that basin is the lowest point on that parking lot. That's equal to that overflow weir.
Okay.
So that as soon as that starts getting a little flooded, it'll go over the overflow and it won't flood anymore.
Okay.
That's the idea, and that's what he was pointing, asking us to do, and we did that. Now, I think, like I said, we revised everything to match his comments. These were the two, pretty much the main issues that he was concerned with, and I think that pretty much covers everything we've got to do. We did provide, there were some other questions as to the permeability tests and the permeability use of the exfiltration. So we did use the correct exfiltration number. It's in the new calculations that we submitted to them, and it's right in one of the pages. I think it's page 43 or 53. I'm not going to find it that quickly. But it is there, and it does demonstrate that we're using the permeability that was done by Welty Associates. One of the comments, again, by the engineering department was to submit the Welty report, and we did so. So that's all there. Also, they had a question about the location of the permeability test. We never wrote that out to the engineering department, but it's basically in the same location that is shown on the Welty report. It's pretty much on the end of that pipe to this side.
Yeah, there was one over here.
Yeah,
one
there's
over
one
here.
for the building.
One over here, one
and
over
about
here.
there. Okay, that
one
other
down
one,
here.
the last one you pointed to was it. But a bit
Right here.
in the middle.
Right here.
There,
Yeah.
around there. So,
Here,
yeah, he did
here,
a lot of them.
here.
He was doing them
Down here.
to be used for the construction of the building, for the foundation design. So that was that information, and all of that has been submitted to the town engineer in our last submission to the town.
Could I ask, just for clarity
Yes.
and for our edification here?
Sure.
There's two memos in our packet. One is from Derek.
Yes.
I think it was April 19th. It had 8 specific items. I think
Yes.
you've addressed some of them.
We addressed,
My
yes.
question is, have you addressed all these 8?
Yes, it did. Yes, we did.
Those are addressed to his satisfaction.
Yes.
There was
Right.
also a second memo that actually had 30 items.
Yes, those are the ones I was talking about. Mostly,
Yeah.
we've done them all. We've covered them all.
So all those have been
Yes,
covered as well from John Mills, right?
that's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
We had a Zoom meeting prior to last meeting, and we discussed it, all the information that he needed.
And it was also meant to him. Now, we have received another memo
Okay.
from Mr. Mills.
So from an engineering perspective, there's no outstanding concerns?
I believe there are
from-
not.
From our
That's correct.
town, okay.
I do believe that's correct, yes.
Denise,
I
did
mean,
you?
we did try and
They
cover.
did issue, the engineering department, John Mills issued a letter this afternoon with 4 comments.
For additional comments? Okay.
Yes, they're right here. I have that, I finally looked at it as I was going out the door practically. Anyway, it says provide a photometric lighting plan, and that has been provided.
Yep.
Okay.
I am in receipt.
And you have it.
Yep.
And I don't know that they had a chance to look at it, but I'm sure it'll answer all your photometric
You have a
requirements.
slide for it or no?
Yep, I do.
Yes, we do.
Throw the slide up, please.
You gotta go back to your,
Oh, you come over. I don't know how to do this.
Over here. It's a 3-man job, you know?
It's this point
Yeah, I
by
know.
point.
Oh, there it is.
There we go.
Okay. So there's the photometric plan.
The address.
It shows,
Yeah, that's it.
okay?
Yep, that's it.
It shows the lighting, the splash, and so on all the lights. I'm not familiar with it, it's your.
Yep,
it's
the
your
lighting,
photometric,
the lighting we chose was not the tall post parking lot lights, just to be respectful to the neighboring homes. It is like about 4 feet tall.
Similar to the candle light that we added to the salon.
Are you talking about a bollard, 4 feet
Yeah,
tall?
yeah.
Because they're not 14
They're,
feet.
no, they're
Oh,
not
so they're
14.
small bollards.
They're,
Would
they're
you guys
bollards.
try to move the mic over a little
Sorry.
bit?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Instead of talking on that side of the
Sure.
podium.
How's that?
Yeah.
All right, we'll try and get
So
closer.
they're
That
bollards.
should be better.
They're bollards.
So they're bollards, so they're only this tall, and they splash down.
Yep.
And the ones that are shown around the property line on the east side are against the fence.
Yep.
It's a solid fence, you've seen it out there. It's a cedar fence, it's 6 foot high, and it's got,
And
6-inch
Yep.
posts at 8-foot panels, correct?
And they're all dark
And
sky
it's all,
compliant.
you can't see through it. So if these things are bollards, they're not gonna shine on the other side, even though the splash shown on this is for an open
Yes.
area. Apparently, the people doing the study didn't know there's a big fence there.
Yes.
So that's the point. So we should have no splash at all onto those butters, because the bollards are short, 4
They're,
foot.
yeah, they're below
What are the levels at the east property line? I can't read it. Is it 0 or is it 0 point something?
Oh, I can't read it either.
From there, I can't.
I doubt you can read it. I think you'd have to look at the,
What's the requirement? What's the requirement at the property?
no, it's not, we don't have a copy of it.
0.2?
I think it's there.
Right, right. All right, well, that'll be reviewed by town
Yeah, if it
engineer.
says 0, it will be 0, because they're probably saying the same thing, that it's the fence is in the way.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So one other question for you. You
Sure.
mentioned the signage of the no parking on Main Street. How many existing on-street spaces are eliminated by that no parking that's being added?
Well, it's a little more than that. I think it's a little more than that. I think it's about 2 in front of your building and
Yeah,
two
maybe two.
on the other side of the driveway,
But
something
that's
like that.
already eliminated anyways, 'cause you
And that
can't
was-
park in front of the crosswalk.
And that was at the direction of the town engineer?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So that's 3 total
3 or 4, 3 or
Yeah.
4
on the street.
on the street.
All right.
If I go on with the next item, provide a detail for the concrete edge around the pavers. It is provided, maybe he missed it, but we'll point it out to him and do whatever he's looking for. It is shown on the plans. Basically, it's gonna be a concrete edge that's poured flush with the top of the pavers instead of a curb.
It says
But-
it right there. Concrete slush edge.
Yes, it does say
Yeah.
that. But he was looking for a detail, and we provided a detail on our plans. So it is on the plan. You don't have to go looking for that one. That's just a detail. So we did do that, and if there are any questions, we'll be glad to,
Yeah, I think we'll give all the commission members an opportunity, maybe after your presentation. You have the architect still to go? Is he?
No, the architect's not.
Oh, okay, is this,
I'm almost done.
okay, keep
I'm just trying to go through
going
the
and then
last
we'll
few
get to
comments.
questions, okay?
Right. It says, label proposed easement, access easement in favor of. We did label it. It's going to be calculated and made legal, type of border calculations, all done by the surveyor, and it will be filed in the land records. That's what he was asking us to do, and that's what it says on the plan. Number 4 was provide a revised drainage report. We did that. That drainage report was submitted to you and everyone else. I have the email when I submitted that drainage report, as well as the Welty report that was in there, and all the revisions to those pipes I told you that were dropped. It's all in there, and all the calculations were revised accordingly. Comments with the previous. Right, clearly identified the overflow location. I pointed out that there's a manhole now in the front corner of the new building area that is tied to the street with an overflow over a weir only when the parking lot starts to show any kind of flooding above the lowest point of the catch basin.
And the town engineer is happy with that,
Well,
with everything.
he should be. I mean, it's exactly what he asked us for. But he also didn't make any comment about it. This is Mr. Mills. I don't know if he,
He's not the head engineer.
When did you submit it to the town?
Oh,
Or
gosh.
report?
it had to be 2 or 3 weeks, 3 weeks ago.
So
At
they've had
least
it for 3 weeks?
at least 2 weeks, for sure.
Do you know,
Right.
Denise, if they've had a chance to review that?
I mean, the comments that they issued today, my understanding was that that was based on the revised plans.
Okay.
That
So,
was my understanding.
That's what I'm trying to understand. These are brand-new comments of today.
Yes, and I don't
Yeah, that's why
understand
we're
why he's
confused.
saying they didn't see it, because
It was
we
there.
gave it to him at least 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
At least
Either
2.
Either he's not sure what you gave him, or he didn't have a chance to fully review it. That's
Well,
what I'm
I
trying to figure
think-
out.
Well, this is not from the engineer, right? Or is Mills part of the engineering department?
He's
He
part
is.
he's part of the engineering division.
Oh,
Was
okay.
he, Denise, was he handed the photometrics?
Yeah.
We're referring to the drainage report.
Oh, the drainage.
Yeah,
So that has
drainage
nothing to
report.
do with it. Okay.
Right. And, you know, I thought that they had plenty of time to look at it because all the cots were there. And to tell you the truth, it's all there and it works. So eventually, I can explain it to him if he's asking us to do that. But for tonight's information, it has been done. All the revisions are done and they are correct.
So for tonight, what you're saying, A, B, C, D, and E, in your estimation, have all been addressed
Oh,
in
Yes,
the
yes,
in the
yes.
revised drainage
Absolutely.
report?
They have.
Since since this memo that's dated for today's date is
Right.
issued so late, and there's, appears to be some conflict in terms of, you know, your assertion that most of these items have been addressed in prior submissions, would you have any objection to the commission attaching a condition to approval?
Absolutely no
of-
objection with that at all.
Of
Totally
of
fine.
satisfying
fine.
the issues that
Yes.
Mr. Mills has submitted in his memorandum?
Absolutely.
As a condition for
Yes,
approval?
yes.
Right, why don't we try to let them finish, and then in a more orderly fashion, we can ask all the questions we want, but we haven't gotten to the public
Right.
yet either.
Okay.
Okay.
So anyway, B, C, D, and E, all those comments have been addressed, and as you say, you know, you can put them in as condition because it's going to be done. It is done. And I think that answers all the questions, really.
Is there anything further you have for your presentation?
No,
So,
there is not. I think we've
From an
covered everything.
architectural standpoint, everything has been approved by HDC, so I don't think there's really anything to talk about there. The fire marshal did raise one concern in terms of the fire rating on the, I'm sorry, the rear, not the rear elevation, the north elevation, because it is less than 5 feet. Portions of the building are less than 5 feet from the property line. And when you have that, obviously, you want fire rating on those areas. The part of the house that's on the property line has always been there for 200 plus years. And it has existing windows there, but the architect did give potential ideas to take windows out, but then it would be one very long building with no windows on that side. But he did make comments, and I have them up here. We can bring this slide back up.
Which one you want?
This one right here.
And is the fire marshal satisfied with that, and the building official?
So he just said to us during our Zoom that as long as they're fire rated, he's completely okay with it. He just wants it to be fire rated. And then with the other comment he made was as long as the studio apartment has a sprinkler system, he's completely okay with that as well. So we were already anticipating putting a sprinkler system in the apartment. So those were his two concerns, and we've addressed those two. So if you go to that slide right here.
Is the entire building going to be sprinkled or just the apartment?
Nope, it just has to be the apartment. Yep. So the windows on the north elevation, yep, right there. See in the red right there? So those are the only windows that would be, have to either be removed altogether, or we have to find some sort of compromise with that in terms of getting a fire-rated glass of some sort. When I built the salon, it came up again with the fire rating on our side-facing ascot, and we ended up just having to do siding. And then, yeah, the concrete board and all that stuff. So in the event that the fire marshal wants the windows removed completely, we would do that. That's okay.
Historic District Commission approved this totally with no
They,
problem?
100%.
Well, there was
Yep.
problems, but they approved it, yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
we made some compromises.
All right, before we circle through the commission with any questions, I just wanted to ask a couple myself, if I could. One of them is the 28 parking spaces that you're showing. Are those all new spaces, or does that include spaces at your existing salon as well?
Nope, that is all new. So my existing salon has 13, and
Yeah.
then we would be putting the 28.
And are you planning, are you basically keeping these as separate lots with the easement that allows people to travel into the parking
We
lot?
share a lot of clientele.
Right.
So if they park there, they would just have to walk to whichever,
But
yeah.
you're not merging them all into
No, we are
a single parcel?
Nope,
Okay.
that's- yep.
And also, I see that you're asking for a number of modifications. So I guess one question is, it says that you've got a 12.5-foot front setback where 25 is required. So is any of your new construction going in the front yard, or is it
Nope.
all on the side and the back?
It's all on the side and the back. The only part that would be different is that we're putting a second floor above the existing first floor bump out.
Okay, and right now you've got a, what is it, a 12.3 side yard setback, 24 is required, and you're maintaining that 12.3 distance?
Yep.
With your new building?
Yep.
And on the landscaping, I guess maybe Denise, you could answer that. So there's an overall landscape requirement that 25% of the lot is to be landscaped?
That's correct.
And what percentage? So they'll have 16.58
That's what they're proposing.
proposed. Okay.
And just clarify, so you're talking about the land between the Academy Museum and your patio, that's gonna be a landscaped area? Is that?
No.
No?
No.
The landscape is mostly just the buffer on the fence,
Oh, on the fence, I'm sorry.
and then
And
the
then
front
to-
is, will
yep.
still be grass.
So the lot in between the, our home and then
Academy.
the academy, the HDC just required us to put arborvitae's in
Because
between.
that's all one lot, 64, 66.
Correct.
From the
The
Academy
whole, yes,
to the north side of the structure you're proposing, that's all one lot.
correct. It's like a big L shape.
Right. And that's all your green space that the math works on, right?
Yep.
And just in terms of is the existing salon operations are staying in the other building?
The existing salon is staying in the salon.
Okay, and I guess by my count, I may be off, but on your estimates of the number of employees in the new building, I think I came up with maybe a maximum of 12 at any
So
one
we
point in
have
time?
currently, right now, we have 2 rooms in our spa
Right.
and then 1 flex room. So that's where we can't have more than 2 people upstairs for that. We are adding more rooms, but we have to have an ADA accessible room downstairs. So that's going to become our new flex room. So we have
Right.
4 rooms.
I was really just referring to your estimated employee
okay.
counts for the 4 tenant spaces. So the first one says 4 to 6, the second one 3 to 4, so that would be 10 maximum. Tenant space 3 is 1 to 2, that would get us to 12.
Correct.
And then the apartment, those
That's
tandem
for the-
spaces are separate
separate.
from the commercial lot. So will the employees be parking in the 28 space lot?
I would assume so. Right now, they park in the parking lot now, and they park on the street. So it's both. Some of them park and walk. But we've never really had too much of an issue with parking, even the way that the salon is set up now. So I'm not.
Are you able to estimate, so if you've got 12 spaces taken by employees of the 28, are you able to estimate how many cars you might expect from customers of the 4 tenants?
Usually it's a double. So like if there's 12 employees, you're going to get 12 customers. So that's how kind of we would run it.
One
Okay.
customer per employee.
Yeah, 1 car
Yeah, that was on
per.
your salon calculation?
That's how we've
Yeah.
been kind of operating it. And I will say that we don't all work at the same time. So that's the same thing with the way that this is laid out. Doctor's office isn't open on Saturdays and Sundays. The bakery, or retail space, they might not be open on Mondays and Tuesdays. Our retail space won't be open on Mondays and Tuesdays. Our spa has always been by appointment. It doesn't have set hours. And because it's a variable with scheduling, that I would assume that that's how the parking lot would kind of map out.
Okay, and by the way, on the parking lot, I think you mentioned
Yep.
part of it is pervious. Is that where all the
We're
20
doing
we're all-
pavers.
Yeah, the cars are parked, it'll be
Yeah,
pervious.
we were
and then
gonna
the
do
plantings.
asphalt, but it's just not my favorite, so we decided to do, and then we talked about doing grass and having people park on a reinforced grass, and then he said that's just gonna get muddy and icky.
And then when you plow it, it's gonna look
So
good, then you.
we decided to do pavers.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't we, George, and then whoever else would like to ask questions?
So summing it up,
Mm-hmm.
your peak time, you don't anticipate anybody parking on the street?
Oh, no, absolutely, I mean, people park on the street all the time, I would be
Yeah.
fooling anyone to say
You
that.
anticipate more parking out front or on the street?
Absolutely, that's kind of how it is
Because
now.
that area is difficult to park in.
It is, that's why I'm very
And that's
thankful
why
we
I'm
can get,
asking it.
yeah.
You gotta have an answer, and I don't want it.
I'm happy we got 28 spaces
Yeah, I know,
back
I
there.
usually,
That's
you know,
I may
pretty,
not live in old Weathersfield,
Yeah.
and I complain that you guys are
I know you
getting
do.
well down there, but I'm worried about the parking issue.
I know.
I know.
I
Well, I know how
get
to solve it, but I can't help you today.
Anybody else have questions? Peter?
The outdoor dining and
Yes.
alcoholic beverages.
yes.
Not clear, why is that there, and how is that gonna work?
Okay, so tea time is usually by reservations. People come in, they ask, it's a pre-order, so they'll basically say they want X, Y, and Z, and it comes out on like a tier. I don't know if you've ever done tea time before. Mimosas and specialty cocktails are part of like a more up-and-coming type of modern tea time, and that's what we're anticipating on doing. The outdoor seating is because I love just sitting outside, and I want people to be able to sit outside as well and enjoy the space.
Where will that be?
Right,
So there's
right after this area here.
Yep, there's
Right
like,
here.
that's all pavers.
This is where the tenants are gonna be parking from this corner to here, and then the patio is gonna be from here to there.
And then it wraps around the back. It's not a big space, so it
No,
would be,
it's- these
it would be
plants are
like
easy.
maybe 5 bistro tables. It's
Yeah.
not like an actual, there's no room for
Yeah,
like,
okay, I understand now.
Yeah.
I was just concerned about separation between cars and people.
oh,
Well, we
it's
are, the
completely,
separation is gonna be planters here. We did talk to Derek about that. So there's gonna be planters here, and then planters dividing the parking lot from the walkway to this area here.
And so you're gonna have like a physical barrier?
yes,
To show where the cars
Designation.
stop and where the people
Yes.
start, right?
correct.
And then when it snows, the night before, I will move them, push it through, and then the barriers go back. I'm making it so it's easier for me to move the snow instead of having snow banks everywhere and having all these problems with ice building up against the building, people slipping along this side, I get sued over here. Like, I'm just trying to eliminate all those problems. 'Cause I'm pretty particular about moving snow.
What type of liquor license would you be seeking for the spa?
So I wouldn't necessarily want any beer, but it would be wine and it would be cocktails, mimosas, those type of things, so champagne. I think you have to get a full liquor license in order to do that. Anything more than champagne and wine require full-on liquor.
Is it going to be table service?
It has to be, yeah.
And
Not for the, only for the seated portion of it. So someone can come up to the counter and they can get whatever is offering that day. So whatever pastries we have in the case, it's a grab and go. But anything that's seated, those have to be served. And that's during the tea time, the reserved tea times.
and the alcohol can only be
Reserved.
served
Yep,
by
absolutely.
service, so you can't just
You
walk
can't
up
walk up
and...
to a
No.
counter and get it, nope.
It's not a bar,
Nope, no bar.
no bar.
Peter?
Will the alcohol be served outside as well?
I actually haven't thought about that, so I can't give you an answer to that right now. I don't
Well, if the
anticipate,
lady comes and she wants to have her tea outside and it's a sunny day,
yeah, I
maybe.
I guess, I mean, I don't want to say no, but
Yes.
I wasn't thinking about that. But I'm sure there's rules and regulations with all of that.
Yeah.
Is there a fence there, or is it just plantings on your garden, next to the seating area outside?
There's a fence.
So there is a fence between the condensing units and so a portion of the patio has a fence.
Well, the reason I ask, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm anticipating that if you're gonna have alcohol outside. it
You
has
have to have,
be fenced in.
Yeah.
it has to be, that's why I said I don't anticipate it, but
Like, I'm not 100% sure how that's.
yeah.
And
Yep.
in terms of the neighbors to the rear at Robbinswood, is there a 6-foot stockade fence the entire
There is.
back
Like
of the
200
property?
250 something feet.
Yep,
So you're,
We put that in like a year ago.
yep. And then there's also gonna be plantings up along that fencing too, with trees that are
Here.
gonna have a higher height. So we're not gonna just stop at 6 feet, they're gonna go up to 20 feet.
Yeah.
along the rear
Yeah.
fence?
Yep, yep.
Any other commission members at this point with questions before we go to the public? Jim?
So, yeah, I apologize, I had a
Yeah,
real
fine.
hard time with just the print. There was just a lot to print this way.
I know.
It is what it is. Between the fence and your curb for the parking lot, about how wide is that area?
I think, would you say 3 feet, Alice? Would you say 3.5, 4 feet?
It's about 5 feet.
Oh, it's 5 feet.
All right, so it's 5 feet, so you're what, putting like an arborvitae up, so it's gonna be like a 20-foot?
We're doing pear trees.
We're doing pear trees, I'm gonna do hydrangeas in between, so it's gonna be a whole landscaping bed all the way down. So I'm gonna soften that fence look, instead of looking like the trunk wall.
But you said it'll go over the 6 feet, 20
Yes.
feet?
Yeah, at least,
Yeah,
whatever the pear
pear
trees
trees,
max
whatever
out,
they
maybe
max
18
out.
feet, 17 feet.
No, I'm just trying to get a vision of it, and then you're gonna put the 4-foot bollard lights in there,
Mm-hmm.
and you just got that, okay.
Yep.
And then the green space is gonna be, it's always just gonna be green space between the academy and your patio?
For now,
That's a separate property.
yeah.
Oh, that's why I asked you if cause just to make sure, 64, 66, I didn't know.
Yeah, so 64, 66 is the L. And then 160 is like a square next to it. So that's the White House plus the
The
lot
grass
in
area.
between, the grass area, and then the academy. So this is just the rear, the parking lot is in the very, very rear of the property.
Right, I understand.
Okay.
Then what is the long-range plan for that piece out?
The lot in the front?
Yeah.
We've talked about doing we've had so many people offer to build their house there, but as of right now, we don't have plans yet. But I'm sure because we like to do projects,
We'll
we'll
see.
eventually
We'll
have a
see.
plan.
So you anticipate a structure being right up against?
100%.
Okay.
Yep, at some point.
With additional parking if I did decide to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. But that's not in our,
Not right now.
we have so many other projects that we're dealing with
Yeah.
right now.
And then another one on the way.
Got it, good. How do you, is the parking space coming off, the pre-existing, like your driveway, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
that parking space there, is that a make or break for you guys on that?
Having the
Having that
tenants,
one slot in there?
I
Is
mean,
that-
I would prefer to separate the commercial lot from a residential lot. I mean, I think it makes sense because it's currently a driveway.
No, I got you.
So I feel, and then there is a walkway that wraps around.
Yep.
So it's pretty easy to maneuver. We made it so that it would be easy to maneuver. And then it kind of makes sense with the house being next door, having their driveway. So it's,
The 160.
yeah.
Right, I got what you're saying.
So basically, almost will continue the flow of like a looking of a residential.
house.
Residential.
Well, to your point about that, is the way it is, the firehouse and Center Street just being
Yeah.
in the tightest spot.
Well-
If you're gonna have 2 curb cuts, you're gonna add a curb cut that wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm thinking ahead that if those 2 spaces in the front, if that is.
So that wouldn't be a curb cut because that's existing.
They're gonna park right here.
I said there would be 2 curb
Oh,
cuts.
got it. Okay, yeah.
So, and even if they're next to each other, or if it's down the street, I'm just looking at it, how it's gonna lay out ahead of time, what it's gonna look like, and
We originally were gonna have the exit be in between those 2 houses, and then we discussed it with engineering, and it was just too tight, and that would have gotten very messy because the firehouse is
It's right
like
here.
directly across the street.
no,
So-
I figured that you'd.
Yeah, it wasn't gonna work.
Okay, anybody else?
One
Peter?
last question, this came to mind.
Yep.
There hasn't been any discussion about traffic increase. Was that at all discussed with engineering? And what did you guys conclude?
So no one came up to us and brought that to our attention for a traffic increase. The only thing that was brought to us was circulation, and then we remedied that. We have exactly 22 feet, which is what is required for a two-way. So we definitely have that all throughout, but we have it partially because we are getting an easement from the historic to borrow 6 feet of their property. They're the very back of their property. They gave us permission to use that as an easement.
But from a traffic safety point of view, the stop sign
On Center Street?
was required, right? Aren't you putting up a stop sign?
No.
Didn't your engineer say there was? a
Oh, no,
stop
he
sign?
just wants a
No,
no
this-
parking.
And the
That-
street.
He said, so I guess you could say, yes, there was conversation about traffic. His main concern was that there was no more people parking right up to the entrance.
For sight.
Yes.
Correct. Yes.
So that was the only concern, is sight.
Yes. Yep.
He said he's gonna be redoing Center Street, adding a new crosswalk, he said, Derek? That's what he was saying to
Yeah.
us.
Okay, anybody else? Jim?
So if you could just elaborate, if you can go back to your slide in with the parking.
Yep.
Okay.
Is this one?
I know, I just can't seem to, this one?
No, this one.
This one? I don't see it. There we
Yeah.
go.
There you go.
So is that,
Change the
is,
page.
like, is, you got,
There.
yeah.
Yeah,
Go to the other one, no?
That's it, right
Yeah.
there.
I thought the other one had the easement, okay. Can I see, is the easement, can you just point to it with the pointer on there from?
Yeah,
the-
right here.
It's,
It's that
That
tiny
little-
little,
that piece
yeah,
right
that
here.
open, that one right there?
Yeah,
Yep.
right here.
No, it's the hash one.
The
The
X,
one with the stripes on it.
the stripes right here.
So it's just, is it one of those stripe boxes or both of those stripe boxes? It's,
so to make the 22 is the first striped box.
Right.
The one after that
Right.
is just like a buffer,
Right here.
just because it's like a landscape buffer, I guess you could say,
It's in order to be able to grade.
to grade.
I understand. Then, how's that easement structured? Is that a life easement, or how is that structured?
This is kind of the same kind of easement that we have going on right here, if I had to assume.
With-
Well, I could see how the one to the south is one thing, but being the Historical Society and its tax status, that's why I was just wondering how it works
So
with that.
That would
we did
be,
discuss with Derek this area right into here, with Amy too, that eventually this is gonna get
fixed with
fixed
their own
with the town's
parking.
gonna actually put a parking lot that actually works for them and works for Amy and actually has lines and handicap spots and all that good stuff.
So I'm assuming that that's part of the whole,
That'll be
their phase.
their phase.
So the reason I'm just asking is like, how's this, what, in 5 years, 10 years, what happens if that piece of property has to be dealt with in a different fashion when they want to address their parking lot and they need buffering or they need to amend, what goes around their parking lot? That's what I want to ask them.
Yeah.
We'll have to discuss with our attorney or with the Amy and the town and see
Yeah.
what they want to do, what Derek wants to do with all that.
No, do you understand what I'm saying? So when they do that restoration,
Yeah.
they're going to be, okay, well, we need,
Yeah.
Yep.
lighting, we need landscape
Yeah,
buffering,
yeah.
we need drainage, we need this, and then, we need our 6, 8, or 10 feet back. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, it's a cross easement, so
Cross
I
easement,
would,
he's just driving, they could take it back.
I would
guess.
assume, and I don't know if it's safe to assume, that they would put parking on that side as well.
Oh.
So
Here,
it would be
here.
basically to answer your question in short, it
It'd be life.
would be just like how we have a lifelong
Right here.
easement between historic and us
That's
now.
on your land record.
Yes, it would be,
Yeah.
but that's a requirement, it has to be.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we can all sit here and assume and use our common sense, but that may not be what actually happens or is required to happen when they do that restoration. I mean, that's just, we can't control that. So that is not, that agreement with that piece of property is not on the land record. It's just it's an agreement, a written agreement.
Yep,
between
it
the
couldn't
property.
be on the land records until we get PZ approval. So.
It will be on
it
Has
would-
has it been fully negotiated and agreed to?
We talked to the town about it. I don't know, Denise, where we're at with that portion of it. But there hasn't been any.
Derek didn't say anything.
Yeah, and Amy, who runs the historic, was all
She
supportive.
was for it.
Is that town-owned lease to the Historical Society?
I don't know that, that's not, I don't know anything about that.
It's town-owned land leased to the Historical Society. It's not like the Keeney Center that's owned by the Historical Society.
I don't know.
But in any event, your intent is that that would be a permanent easement that you'd have forever, or whoever owns the
Yep.
property. So I think
Yes.
ultimately,
We're willing
I
to
think
work
that's
with them.
something we need to keep in mind when we take action on this application, if we
Jim,
haven't
this is a
seen
good
it.
line of questioning here. I thought this was all settled. Are you saying that potentially you may not have that cross easement?
Yeah, we have a letter.
Okay, but you don't have one.
Well, you can't do it until we get approvals. Like, we couldn't do any of the hold harmless or the records. We said it was going to be a condition of the approval. That's how we had left it the last time we talked.
With Derek's.
With Derek.
So let me ask the question in a negative fashion. If something happens and you cannot get that cross easement, what happens
We would
to
have
that
to,
flow? What would you have to do?
what we would have to do is we'd have to remove approximately 5 parking spaces to get the 22, to get a two-way in there, and then you could put parallel, so it would be essentially a loss of 3 parking
All right, so you'd be
spaces.
back to us because you wouldn't have enough parking.
For 2 spaces, correct. Yep, yep.
And the other easement is an existing one to
Yeah,
come
this
in
is
from the
existing,
street?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
But I will say that we do own the property at 160, so if it was a matter of taking those 2 out and
I could
putting
put 'em
2
over
in,
here.
we could definitely make that work if the town didn't want, we have the property to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then we'll
my
have the
issue,
parking.
and I clearly understand the property you own where your current salon is.
Yep.
That's easy, because you have 100% control over all rights, titles, and interests, so you can do that. And it's that one piece of property that then, all of a sudden, when your building is sold, or one of the buildings is sold, even, let's say hypothetically your salon's sold, and the easement's there, it's locked in, and no one can do anything about it, but if that then gets changed, that 6 feet, then it changes the complexion of everything, and it can make your building non-compliant, because it doesn't have the parking.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying, we would
Yeah, no,
take
you know what I'm
it
saying,
from,
like down
yeah.
the road, or if you sell, I'm not looking
We'll
at
make sure
right
the
here
Lord
and now,
puts
I'm looking at
everything
down the road, what the problem
Where
could
it
be.
belongs.
If it's filed as a permanent fixture with the land records, then I don't think there would be a problem at that point. The goal is to get it to there. We do have a letter for it, but in the event that they say that we can't
I
have
got
that, then we would scratch out those 5 spots.
I
We
got
would
you.
still get our 22.
And we'll put 'em over here.
And
No,
then
I
we
got
would
you.
put them over there.
I get you.
But
Okay.
for when Derek had looked at this, we had said that that made the most sense.
Yeah, thank you.
Right, anybody else on the commission at this point, or if not, let's go to the public. Applicant, if you'd like to
Yes, thank you.
sit, you can, and we're gonna hear from anyone in the public who'd like to speak. If you'd like to speak, please just step up to the podium. Anyone who'd like to speak on this application? Anyone in the public who'd like to speak on this application? It looks like we've got one. If you'd please state your name and your address for the record.
Frank Delarippa, 37 Robinswood Drive. I live in the north corner of the development. So I have basically an opening statement and then a whole bunch of bullets. You don't have to answer tonight, but maybe for the record, it's something for you to think about when you make your decision. My wife and I live at the north corner of the proposed development. I don't understand why the town is even entertaining the change of use from residential and mixed residential and commercial use to allow the sale of alcoholic beverages and have outdoor dining. I mean, it's right up against all of our neighborhood properties. We live in a residential neighborhood. It's quiet, it's peaceful. Our neighbors are all good people. And I have concerns with the proposal, and these are my concerns. Like I said, you don't have to answer these, but I just want to bring them forward. Noise at night, whether it's from cars leaving the site or people getting loud after partying or drinking. delivery trucks, backup alarms, you're gonna hear that. Delivery trucks come at all times. Do the proposed parking spaces width meet the current code? It seems like a lot of spaces in that small area. Is the travel lane in the parking lot 22 feet? That's typically standard. I'm concerned about the setback line. I haven't heard that discussion. Is the setback between the back of the parking lot and the property line, is that supposed to be 15 feet? Why does there's comments on the parking lot. Why does the parking lot have to span so many properties? Will this lot be used by other people who are visiting the proposed establishment? I mean, by people other than those who are visiting the proposed establishment? Are there other reasons for such a parking lot supporting maybe the Charles or the Old Town? Is that a reason why they need to have all those spaces? Will the parking become one large loop where you enter from the southern end, leave at the northern end? Will there be valet parking at some point? Will the parking lot be open 24/7? Or will the lot have a gate to keep others out? You know, these are things that I don't know. Let's talk about the lights. There was a big discussion. One of my primary job, I'm a city engineer for the city of Hartford. I deal with lights all the time. And you're going to get, no matter what you tell me, you're going to get the light spillage. You're going to get reflection from car lights. You're going to get you're going to see it. It's just going to be there. It's going to reflect off the fence. If you approve this project, I suggest arborvitaes along the entire fence, the ones that grow up 10, 20 feet. That'll give some protection to light. Otherwise, we're going to see it. All the other homes in Robbinswood Drive on the north side, their houses are quite a distance from the Keeney Memorial. Whereas, again, if you go walk our neighborhood, we are right there, right up against the parking lot. And it's like, I'm 50 feet away. It's just really too close. So in closing, I'd like you to think very hard about your decision tonight, because the ultimate question is, will my home value and my neighbor's home value decrease if the development passes? So those are my comments.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak? And let's see.
My name is Greg Norsighi, and I'm the executive of the estate of Alice Norsighi, and I grew up at 43 Robbinswood Drive, which under this proposal would have a parking all along the side of the property that's closest to Main Street. I'm concerned about the change of use of this parcel. I know it's not going to stay a field forever like it has when I grew up, but I'm very much concerned about the change in use from residential to commercial, alcoholic beverages being served, noise, light pollution. The 6-foot fence is fine if you're standing in the backyard, but if you're on the first floor inside the house, the lines of sight carry over the 6-foot fence. You see headlights, other activity that's going on. On the second floor where the bedrooms are, 6-foot fence does nothing as far as what you see and what you hear. We're already having issues with the noise created by the outside activities at the Charles. It detracts from your enjoyment of just sitting in the backyard and in a chair and reading a book or whatever. I'm concerned about patio and outside drinking, cars coming to empty dumpsters at night. Who knows what hours of these businesses that are proposed are going to operate at. It can start out as this tenant, it can change to another tenant. I agree with all the comments made by Mr. Della Ripa. It's going to be years before these other landscape bufferings are going to have any meaningful impact on the view out the second floor bedrooms of our home at 43 Robbinswood Drive. And I believe a pear tree is deciduous, which means the leaves would drop in the winter, so I don't know how much help that's going to be. I do applaud the applicants for going with the 4-foot lighting. I think that's going to be a help. I was very much not happy about the 10-foot light towers or whatever. I'm sure there'd be security lighting on this new building as well that may be on at night. It's just, my overall overriding concern is the reason why everyone wants to be in Old Wethersfield is because it is Old Wethersfield. It doesn't mean it has to be a library and nothing happens and there's nobody there and it's like a museum. But on the other hand, if there's too much activity, we're destroying what the whole thing, everyone loves to be there. And those are my concerns with this proposal. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who'd like to speak? Anyone else who'd like to speak on this application? One more call. Anyone else who'd like to speak on this application? Okay, seeing none, why don't we, well, first of all, the applicant, you have an opportunity if you'd like to respond to anything that's been said, or you have anything to add?
Absolutely. I appreciate the comments made by the public, and I have been up late at night trying to make everybody happy with this entire project. I understand that Old Wethersfield got the charm because it's a living, breathing community with businesses and homes, and I just wanted to say that every project that we've done thus far in town, and there's been probably three or four at this point, it's been a tasteful project. We've executed it, to the standards that the town keeps us to, and everything we do is also to take the community, we want to wave to our neighbors. We don't want people to not like, us because of lights or trees or anything of that sort. We took out the asphalt and put the far more expensive option, which was the impervious pavers, because we felt like, you're right, from the second floor, do you want to see asphalt or do you want to see something a little bit prettier, which is the pavers, like how Comstock has. It's a softer on the eye. Everything that we're doing with consideration to, meet the needs and requests of the community to as much as we can while still operating a viable business in town. So that's all I have to say.
Peter?
Yes. Could I ask you, one of the comments made was that 6-foot fence is fine, but when you're talking about light spillage, abrevieties, tall abrevieties, evergreens would be better. Would you be amenable to putting evergreens as a buffer between yourselves and those neighbors?
It's not that I would be, I would prefer not to, and the reason being is that arborvitaes take quite some time to grow, and a tree takes far less time. The arborvitaes that we have at the salon are still not even close to, they're just hitting above the fence line right now, and they've been there since 2015. They're getting nice and fat, and we have an irrigation on them, but trees grow and they grow fast, and we were putting in a good amount on the back, and I think just for an aesthetic perspective, I think trees are far more beautiful than an entire row, a 200-foot row of arborvitaes.
The comment about trees lose their leaves, what do you do in the winter?
The same thing everyone else does. You just, the leaves go. That's
for buffering.
For buffering, there's not much you can do at that point. And unfortunately, for a couple months out of the year, you've got snow, you've got bare trees, but then the spring comes and you're back to, beautiful leaves. Yeah.
How many pear trees are you proposing, and how far apart are they from each other?
I believe they're 6 feet apart, 6 to 8 feet apart, because they get pretty big umbrellas. So I believe there's like 14 of them, 14 or 17.
And how big are they at the time they go in?
So we're
Gonna get a 2-inch diameter.
Yeah. So they're about what would you say, 12 feet to start?
13 feet to start.
Yeah.
With the root balls are probably like this big.
Yep.
Another question for you, just how important to you and the project is the outdoor dining portion of it that you're proposing?
I would say it is fairly important, just because that's what attracts people to walk in. And from the outside, the Historic Commission has requested it to pretty much stay looking like a house. So there's no commercial windows, there's no, we have minimal lighting on the property itself, just because they didn't want all of that. So to have some bistro tables out there, it gives the, the aesthetic, like, hey, come inside, and this isn't a home, this is actually a business.
Right, and I guess I'm really talking mostly about the table service, aspect of it outside, so.
If I were to have a limit, I would be open to, if the P&Z wants to say you can't have more than X amount of tables, I will abide by that, because it's not as important. To me, it's more important to have the business there and to function successfully, but I would like to have something outside.
Right now, how many tables and chairs are you proposing?
So I would like to have about 5 if possible.
With how many seats each?
4.
4?
Yeah. But I would be open to having less and having some 2-seaters, some bistro tables. That's totally fine.
And I guess
Or a bench.
Okay.
I just want it to look like
Right.
inviting.
Right. I mean, one other thing I think that we've done on some other outdoor dining applications is we've sometimes put a 1 or a 2-year initial term on it, so that it has to come back to us for renewal, and we have an opportunity at that point if there have been issues with
okay
it.
with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Just
Peter.
following up on your questions, how important is the alcohol outside?
Well, I wouldn't want to serve alcohol inside and say, no, you can't have alcohol outside. I don't want to discriminate whatsoever. So I want to function as, have a flow. I would say it would be important. But if you want to make that part of the stipulation, a 2-year term or whatever, I would be 100% compliant to that.
I'm sorry, the stipulation that there not be alcohol outside?
No,
or
that if you want to do like a renewal, like if the town or the community doesn't feel like I'm doing a good job as to regulating and being respectful of, the operations, the day-to-day operations, then 100%, I'm open to a renewal of that.
For the outdoor
For the outdoor,
component?
yeah.
Right.
Just to remind me, what are the hours outdoors?
So right now, I am proposing 8 to 8 o'clock.
And how many people and tables outside?
So I would like to have 5 if possible, 5 with 4 seats, or say 3 with 4 seats and 2 tops.
You can't serve alcohol until 11, I think.
Well, yeah, I know, but he asked for hours.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. But hours of operation would be 8 to 8. And then closed on Sundays, except for afternoon tea reservations.
Is there going to be any music outside with this tea house?
I don't think there's, I don't know if there's music allowed in Old Wethersfield. I haven't explored that yet.
Yeah, I think what we've been doing, Peter, on those is we've been clear in the outdoor dining. If people request music specifically, we've allowed it, but if it's not requested, and included as part of the special permit, I don't think it's allowed.
I would like to have like a harpist once in a while come out. I'm friends with a harpist in town. She's a local harpist, and I would love for her to be able to play on the porch on a Sunday or something like that.
You could play that.
But in terms of like music, that's not something that I'm.
Yeah,
So
we-
does this application have music then? The harpist
I-
is
I
music.
think it was mentioned, right?
So
Yeah.
I don't know how you classify that, if
Yeah,
it's considered a individual.
It can be a difficult thing. We've had issues with, outdoor
Speakers?
music and
I'm not planning on having
entertainment.
speakers amplified, if that makes any sense. No amplification. That's not what I'm planning on doing.
You'd be within the decibel level, if that's acceptable.
100%, yeah. Yeah. It's a tea house. I just want to reiterate that. It's not a bar, it's tea.
Any other questions of the applicant?
Yeah, I just have a couple.
Okay.
I like your concept, it's forward-thinking, innovative, with trying to mix old, new, and
Yeah.
the future, so that's good, I like it. Would you be opposed to, just listening to the abutters, and since they are your
Neighbors.
neighboring partner, if you will, would you be opposed to, I was just kind of thinking here, we've seen it in other parts of town and other areas, old Wethersfield, where people have had to go out and get agreements to rent parking or use parking to make their businesses run. Would you be opposed that, you already shaking it, would you?
No
would you be
sharing of
opposed that
parking.
No shared, no
No,
agreements,
that's too much of
nothing?
a liability. That's
It's all
something I'm very.
just for your businesses, your
100%.
That's it.
100%. I wrote that
it was
comment.
just- It was just brought up, so.
Yeah.
And also, just the control, I mean, I understand when you're not open 24 hours a day there, you have to.
I'm gonna have cameras, Jim.
But, would you do some type of gating or something so you could have better control over it? So just people who just happen into your parking lot don't happen in, I mean, taking in neighbors?
So I will say, I mean, we have obviously a parking lot now at the salon, and, you know, people have talked about the Charles and whatnot, and, I mean, I've never, ever had an experience where we've had to put sawhorses up because his patrons were parking in our parking lot.
It's not anyone in particular, it's not specific.
Okay.
People don't know, I mean, you're gonna be a
Yeah,
destination.
so that's why we have the signage where it says parking for, you know, patrons of X, Y, and Z only.
So you want signs to go up for her patrons only?
Well, that'd be nice.
I would be 100% fine with that.
That's pretty much a
Amy's
given.
got it.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, they're gonna have a large volume parking lot, they're gonna have 30,
Oh, it's already on the plan, sorry.
both
We-
places.
We did that.
They're gonna have, what, I believe it's 13 and 28, so that's quite a bit of parking. And people who come from metropolitan areas can't resist a beautiful new paver parking lot with no one in it.
And doesn't everybody down there share their parking pretty much?
Well, it depends.
Okay, Jim. Okay.
Putting in meters.
I want to know what you guys want to do down in Old Wethersfield in that regard.
Who you guys? Are you talking to me? You talking to me? Put you in charge of it, George.
I'm sorry.
No, but just, you know, we are neighbors, so it's just how to control that, because I can just see, it's beyond your control. It's when that's what I'm looking at, and then how when something is a little bit beyond your control, how it can have an impact on your neighbors. That's really the point of the sign.
I wouldn't maintain a gate. I've used my truck before. I mean, I have.
To move the cars.
No, they locked the car in. Actually.
Yeah.
And you couldn't get out.
No, I'm just thinking about the neighbors. I mean, you guys are
Yeah.
putting your best foot forward and all that, and then
Yeah.
Gate.
someone who isn't in your equation can have a poor impact on your neighbors.
Yeah, I would say that if it becomes a problem, then I would reevaluate at that point, but since we don't have any issues with the salon right now, I don't anticipate that. It's kind of a hidden parking lot in a way, if you think about it. Like, you have to.
You're not gonna be hidden.
You don't think so?
No, it's a beautiful building. You're a destination.
Yeah.
I think you got a great building, it's gonna be good.
And just to make a point,
No, I just brought that up
to
for
do something
conversation.
like that later is not something we can do. So this would have to be decided.
Yeah, then I would say that I would prefer to not have a gate, and I would go with the signage that's currently on the site plan, because Derek had brought that up in one of his comments, or, excuse me, John Mills did, and we've already addressed that. So there are no parking signs, only for patrons only, on the plan.
I'm responding to the neighbors here also, that's,
Perfect.
Also, are there larger than 5-foot arborvitaes or 6-foot arborvitaes available in the market?
Sure there are. Sure there are.
So,
Yeah.
and what do you get, about a foot a year growth out of those?
Yeah, depending how much water they get and fertilizer.
Good thing you water those ones at your other place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So-
Drip line, yeah.
To address Mr. Nasigian's second floor and the neighbors who are,
It
Yeah, I would
would
entertain it. I just wish that a neighbor would have came over. If we're neighbors, right? You and I are neighbors. You would come and talk to me as a neighbor. instead of coming to the council and talking about it. That's the kind of person I am.
I get that, but
You
we're
know
putting
what I mean?
that
I don't wanna
aside.
say that
Okay,
here.
okay, Tony.
We're putting that aside.
So again, I think that by the time the arborvitae's grow to even where a second floor, we're talking 10 over 10 years.
I just asked, you're a landscaper by profession?
Yeah.
And the engineer, I mean, what is available in the open market? So I'm just
How much I wanna spend.
asking questions.
Yeah,
Exactly. So it comes
Just
down to-
asking a
They're
question.
expensive.
yeah.
After 6 feet, you're talking a couple $100 each street. I just spent $12,000 on the fence.
Yeah.
And I took out all the bushes and all the poison ivy and all the other stuff. I mean, how much neighbor I can be? I mean, nobody's doing anything for me. I'm just
All right.
being me.
I'm under the assumption, because we didn't have the photometric plan, they're on automatic shut-offs or whatever
Yep.
kind.
Yep.
Just so the neighbors
Same thing
know.
that we have at the salon.
All right. And I didn't see it, well, I guess I couldn't really. The landscape renderings, whatever, it's all right. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, one last question, one last
Yes,
question.
yes.
So, 160, which is, we'll just refer to it as the vacant lot between the
Yep.
academy and your property.
Yep.
The future use is to be determined, but probably something positive is gonna happen there someday.
100%, yep. And now I don't know if it'll happen with us or if it will happen, with
Right.
someone in the future.
Correct.
But this is kind of, that's what happens in Old Wethersfield. All the lots are.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
And I'm just thinking down the road of, you have your pre-existing driveway, it's there, and then what happens when something happens, when the future of 160 of, is it in the best interest to address those two spots? Now, I understand your situation and your feeling on that, but you could also see when you're gonna have, how it's gonna lay out down the future. So would you be willing to sacrifice those two spots, or that spot there? Is that something you could live with?
I would prefer to stick with the plan that we have because it's been already looked at by engineering and it proves to be the most successful when it comes to circulation. So I would just have to, the only way that I would do that is if the town said that you can't have those 6 feet for the easement.
I gotcha.
So,
Hey, thank you very much.
yeah, no, thank you.
Quick question, is it possible to do some combination of the pear trees and whether it's arborvitae or some other type of evergreen planting so you get the benefits of
100%.
both?
If someone wants it, yes, I just,
We can break it up.
financially, it could be a $30,000 project, and it would take 10-something years for an arborvitae to grow to even 15 feet at that point.
Or maybe, whether it's arborvitae, whether it's some type of evergreen tree.
My backyard, 5 years, it's all approximately 20 feet tall.
Yeah.
They grow a foot a year.
Let's,
So you'd have to
let's keep
start
the
with 15
dialogue
footers.
just between us,
Yep.
the commission and the applicant. I have a couple questions for Denise, because I think our next order of business is going to be if we're closing the hearing or not tonight. And I guess, Denise, one question I had, in this zoning district, is there any requirement of having a certain percentage or amount of residential space as part of the mixed use?
There is not a percentage requirement in our mixed-use regulations.
Do you have to have
for residential.
some amount of it?
It just says a component, but it does not.
Define what
give-
that is.
no.
There was also a question about whether there's any setback distance requirements in a rear yard for parking in this situation. Is there any type of setback that comes into play if you abut a residential zone, for example, for placement of a parking lot?
I mean, it can be up to 0 feet in the village business district.
And there's no exception or override if it's adjoining the straight residential?
No.
Okay, and then I guess my next question is just in terms of whether there's any open staff issues that you feel still need to be addressed that, could potentially be, that we need to consider in terms of whether we close the hearing or not?
I would just add as one of of the conditions, the final comment from John Mills regarding the drainage report, and just confirm that they are satisfied with the revisions that the applicant has submitted.
Okay, and I actually have one more question for the applicant. If you were approved, when would you start construction? When would you finish? And when would you actually be opening?
We would start tomorrow.
Right.
And our builder projected 5 months to frame it and to do the exterior. And then we're looking at about another 5 months before the interior is done and everything is in, because everything's delayed. So I would assume about a 10-month project.
So around July of 23 is when you would open, something like that?
Correct.
Okay,
If you guys want that everybody's in certain spots, you just tell me, I'll put them in.
okay.
I mean, I don't wanna, you know,
No, I understand.
I'm used to bending.
Or understand. Commission, anything, any further comments, questions before we consider closing the hearing?
We done with the audience?
Sorry?
Is the audience?
Before we close the hearing, my only questions, having gone through this before, and we recently had some of these issues with, we'll just call it municipal-owned property, or whether it's the historical commission, the historic society, or the town, or whichever, in agreements with these towns, and all the agreements obviously can be based on the conditions of approval, this and that, but, and we usually have people provide those agreements to us prior to this, and it sounds, to me, just so we know exactly where we're gonna be at the end of the day, I would like to see the academy, the agreement with that space, that 6-foot space for the academy, because it does impact the parking layout and how the whole thing is done. And it shifts it over to the, I'll call it the Main Street side as opposed to the Robbinswood side. If they cannot have that, and then I don't know how it impacts the 22-foot right of way from a print. So I would like to see that.
You'd like to see that before we close the hearing?
The proposed agreement from, because I'm guessing, I do not know if it's just the Historical Society, because I'm assuming that, and the term of it. Because we had, my fellow commissioner, Mr. Lambruni, brought it up about, how things change and whatnot, so, and I'm sure it's something, not just with the director, I'm sure it goes far beyond the director level at the Historical Society, and whether it's the town, Wethersfield, and or town attorney.
And if it's town-owned property, then there'd have to be an 824 referral back to us on that, so I understand.
Agreement from them before
So
we approve?
Jim, could we just stipulate that the condition of approval is that agreement is in place to our satisfaction, or do you want to see it beforehand?
I think it would actually behoove them, because as our acting chairman right now said, if it's with the town impacts, we need an 824 for them, and it's a whole different ball of wax.
So just if I may say something, if it's made as a stipulation and that you would require that, we would have to, and say that they didn't give it, we would have to come back no matter what for a different site plan that you would be reviewing. So I think putting it as a stipulation makes the most sense.
824 messes it up.
I think he said something different.
Oh.
I think he said that with the 824 referral, it's not possible to be that straightforward with a stipulation. We would like to see the agreement, even though it may not be executed, at least in front of us, so we understand it.
If you just give us, here's the boilerplate of how it is, and these are the people, because I can't even tell right now, sitting here, who's involved with that. If it's the Historical Society and it's leased from the town, vice versa, how it works. So I'm just speculating, I can't speculate on it. Because down the road, if in the middle of the project, the whole thing changes, then.
So, Jim, just to understand, I guess what you're saying is, well, you recognize they can't perhaps present a signed agreement, you'd at least like to see what are the terms, who's the owner, what's the process that has to go through, and your concern is it's an important enough element of their current plan that if it's not feasible to get it, they're retooling the whole thing anyway.
And we have had experiences like this in the past where it was approved and then in the middle, it's like, okay, it's a left turn, and then that left turn is in the left turn lane, and we can't do it.
Right, I mean, it would be nice if it's easier if it's not town-owned property, that would be a lot simpler, I guess.
If we took it out completely, like you had suggested from the get-go, and we eliminated those parking spaces, and you made that as the stipulation to approve tonight's, proposal, then we could come back. If the town, we get that 824 with the town, then that would be a go-around with this.
I'm not
'Cause-
suggesting you do change your print at all. I'm just, how the print is presented to us now in a condition to make that print viable from engineering and everyone's approval, you need that piece, and that piece, the one you want at your salon, that's easy. That's easy. No one has any control over that except you.
Right.
This is a piece that could be in the municipal arena, and it's a whole different ball of wax, and then everything you presented to us is different.
So if we were to take out those parking spots tonight, the ones that are affected with that 6 foot, what are we looking at? If that's the stipulation, that those have to be removed, so everything remains on our property.
But then I think
It wouldn't be
I think the
sufficient
town
parking.
engineer needs to look at it again.
So then it would be us going back to
Commissioner
you
Hughes?
asking for forgiveness for,
If I can have a clarification in terms of what you're looking for, my understanding is what you're seeking isn't a finalized document, but a draft document that contains all the various provisions that shows where the parties have come to an
Yeah,
agreement
who are
on.
Correct.
And that would suffice to overcome your concerns
Correct.
on this. So it doesn't need to be an
Right.
an
Oh, no, it's not
executed
executed,
agreement,
right.
but
Not
a
executed.
draft agreement that we can review and see that the parties have had a reasonable meeting of the minds on the outstanding issues pertaining to that particular parcel.
And
Correct?
I think, yes, right, and keep in mind that if
So
it,
no approval of it, we can't go ahead with an approval tonight
well,
without.
let me just add to that, I guess if it's town-owned property, then it would have to come to us on an 824, and the town council would have to vote. Those two things alone, I would guess, could probably take a couple of months, plus the town
But if-
attorney would
but
have
if
to
it's-
draft
if-
an easement and negotiate
If
it.
you have a finalized draft agreement, you would know at that time whether or not there would be an 824 review.
Right, but I'm thinking ahead in terms of how you would develop a condition. If it's a condition that we want to see the signed agreement before they can have a building permit, for example, or do you let it go longer, in which case they could build out half the thing and then discover
No, so
they
it's-
can't
put the brakes
do it
on
that way?
and-
Right.
And then we have to go back. Derek needs to get re-involved to re-engineer it, and all the things that we approved, the conditions in which we approved it on are no longer existing. Even though it's not, it's 10% of the spaces, 3 spaces, how it shifts the whole thing. I'm hoping and optimistic this is very simple, that you just come back, here's our agreement that will be executed upon our approval, then it's okay. But if, like Acting Chairman Hammer said, it's a different ball of wax, and then it changes everything.
is it possible to take out that parking and move forward with what it is and ask for forgiveness for 4 parking spots?
Why not?
Well, we'd have to look at the plan and see what kind of flow you're talking about.
Right.
One thing, just suggestion is we can continue this meeting for 2 weeks and give you a chance to work that out with your engineer.
We already did contingent though.
This is already our second, we were supposed to be 2 weeks ago.
Understand?
With
but
the same-
If there's a change like that, we would have to see it. We just don't understand what happens to the flow of things when you take out those 4 parking spaces.
So all the people that have looked at this application for
2 months,
for 2 months, no one has picked up on this
and it comes up now.
and said that we were required to have this 824.
We had a Zoom meeting with Derek.
We had it with
Yeah, I
every
mean-
single person on the team.
We haven't looked at it until tonight for the first time, in terms of the others, they were looking at it, I think, from engineering and flow, but we're now bringing up the the detail of how you document it and how you get the permission to do it.
And also myself, just the there's just a photometric study to make it, so we all get the photometric study. I think to their benefit, they should have the photometric study with their fence in place and without the fence in place. Then it's for the public viewing, maybe the neighbors will get some comfort on that with your fence, with both ways, because it was shown without the fence, and it showed the spillage into the lots, into the abutters. With your fence, that's gonna be a whole different look. And I would also just give your landscape architect rendering with your arborvitae's and if that's something you would do, with a projection on it, just to address the neighbors' concerns.
So you want to hold it up, Jim, for one session, right?
Yeah, I want to expedite this up, but the contract, the agreement is really the linchpin on it. That's my biggest hurdle, because I can't speculate. If Derek or somebody in the town wants to put in arborvitae's rather than like spruce trees or whatever, they can do that. But they can't do the formal documentation, they can't fix that at a meeting in Denise's office.
I know what he told us. 2 months that we go there, we go back and forth with
I can't
I
can't address that.
I mean, I think
I don't know
for,
any of those rules.
Denise?
I think for, Derek and I seeing the easement on the plan, our impression was it would be a condition of approval
Yes.
that, we would be reviewing prior to the issuance of a building permit.
Because we still have to have all the easements in place as well. There's a lot of things that have to be filed, because 160 has to give permission because a portion of it is also on our property.
You own one?
Yes.
Yeah, so that was my point, is once you have 100% control over those two things, you can do whatever you want with them.
Yeah.
That's easy, that's just filling it out. And to Derek and Denise's defense, that, I would think somewhere, an engineering attorney or somebody would have said, here, maybe have this done, I don't know.
Well,
I'm
we
just
talked
guessing.
about it in the
I'm guessing.
Zoom, and Derek had said and Denise and everyone that was on the meeting said it would be a condition of approval, and that everything would have to be legally handled, which we said we would do.
I would agree with her, Jim, that we make it a condition of approval.
I'm okay with making a condition of approval as well.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't like holding up an applicant for something that might drag on forever before they get it.
Denise, you were envisioning that if it were a condition of approval, it would be required at what point in time after an approval?
Prior to them submitting for a building permit application. I would not sign off on a building permit without that documentation in place.
That's fine.
So, but again, if Denise just looked it up on the town GIS on her phone, it looks like that property is owned by the town of Wethersfield, so all we're saying is going through that entire process and completing it, I think would probably take 2 or 3 months, if I had to guess. Probably that would be a good timeline for that, so keep that in mind.
Or it's a matter of taking it out completely and revising the site plan and coming back with a addendum or of some sort saying this is what we have to do.
So, again, I mean, I think we could go a couple different ways here. I think if we just say they can't get a building permit unless they present an executed easement that's been reviewed and approved by the town attorney, that may mean they're working on that for 2-3 months or however long. And again, if they come back in 2 weeks, I don't know if they could, at that point, could we be looking at alternatives to say, here's your backup concept that we're also comfortable with?
The backup concept, yeah, maybe that's your thing. Here's our plan A, here's our plan B, and this might be a lot simpler than going off GIS, just to make sure. So, okay, if this doesn't get approved, because you can't get a building permit, you can't do anything anyway, so us approving it is moot right now anyhow. It blows out the schedule, I understand that. But maybe that is, they present us the 2 plans with the parking spaces altered to make sure that, and that the town engineer has to take a look at it and make sure he's happy with it.
The town engineer has looked at it.
Or else this is gonna be design
We
build.
we could still approve it tonight.
Well, hold on.
That's
if-
what I'm
If we
getting.
leave it that way, then this turns into a design build with Derek being the designer on it, with their guy.
Derek's already approved it. He's already looked
No,
at
my
it.
point being, excuse me, no, my point being is like, let's say you have to jostle around that Academy property, then it becomes a full design build project on that side.
We, you know, to Jim's point, we've had a situation where we've left things open between the applicant and the engineer that did not go well. The meeting of the minds of the applicant and engineer didn't occur, and a lot of time got wasted, and they came back to us. And then we finally, after all that wasted time, had to make a decision. So we're recommending that you don't go that route. You know, get it cleaned up, bring it back to us, is what's being suggested by Jim.
I think you're better off with 2 weeks and 3 months, or 6 months,
Exactly.
being all messed up.
So I think Derek has the letter.
It's not even, it's just, if I can't answer it, I'm just
Yeah,
laying it
I'm
out.
just saying.
You may decide, hey, this is a heavy lift and it's gonna delay us, and it's gonna
Yeah.
cost a bunch of money, let's just do this. And then it's like, it's easy.
It would give you an opportunity to talk more to either the town attorney or whoever in the town, in yours, who could give you more guidance on how involved is that process, how long is it going to take, and am I comfortable relying on it, or do I prefer to change direction and
So, Mr.
Because
Chairman, what do you want to do right now?
Well, one point
Make
here.
a motion or whatever you want to do.
Excuse me, 1 second. Just going off the GIS, the dirt is owned by the town of Wethersfield, as it says, and you were talking to Amy Northrup,
She wrote a letter in support.
No, but she's from the historic,
Yep,
tenant?
she's the tenant,
I know.
so therein lies the problem.
She has no authority
They don't have
to
the,
grant you an easement.
and it can't be to the term of their
She is
lease.
not.
No, she didn't grant us any, she just said she was in support of our
But
project.
that
Yeah, I
does-
know.
That does
No, I
not
know.
give us the comfort that,
I think at the end of the day, really, here's the decision. If we give them 2 weeks, they can learn more, we can learn more, they have the opportunity to drop the use of the easement and present to us and the town engineer the alternative, you know, or maybe we get more comfortable because we find out it's not going to be as complicated a process.
You want to table this then for 2 weeks?
I think that's the question, and do we or they lose anything or gain more by doing that?
A motion so made, Mr. Chairman.
Second?
to table, I'll second it.
Okay, and see it back here in 2 weeks.
Yes.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, so we'll see you in 2 weeks, but please, you know, talk to Denise, coordinate with her, hoping that you can get a better handle and we can get a better handle on things to be able to move forward at the next meeting. Okay? Oh, yeah, one. Right, so we needed 5 votes to do anything like that. All right. Rich, you're welcome back.
Yeah, but doesn't do so.
It's been a while, so it's, gotta,
Maybe you'll get this meeting moving.
Yeah, all right, next item, 3.2, public hearing, 2117-22Z, Pritesh Patel and Bhavin Patel seeking a special permit in accordance with Section 5.8 alcoholic beverages of the Wethersfield Zoning Regulations to operate a liquor store at 898-904 Silas Deane Highway. If you could just give us your name and address for the record, please.
Sure, I'm Pritesh Patel, 125 Pearson Drive in Wallingford, Connecticut.
Hi, my name is Bhavin Patel. I live in Rock Hill, 5 Catherine Drive.
Okay.
So we are here for a liquor store permit, package store permit for 898 Silas Deane Highway, a property that we own. We have experience in the liquor business. I've been in the liquor store business for 22 years already. And then, history on this building, we purchased this building, and we had a main tenant, Pelton's Home Healthcare, and he defaulted within 3 months. And then for 7 years, we've been out of our pockets on this building. So also, all tenants are gone. We only have T-Mobile and State Farm in there. And then 3 years ago, we opened Exit. We were here for a special permit at that time to the X-Throwing place. We got that permit. X-Throwing business is iffy, it's holding its own, but we still have an empty spot. We've been through 3 commercial real estate brokers, and we still haven't filled that spot. And now we have a one-stop litigation service that's right next to Exit on the back entrance. They have vacated 2 months ago as well, and they owe us 6 months of back rent as well. So we saw this opportunity and decided to go for it. We both have experience in liquor store business, and we would like to pay some bills.
Okay. Do you have any discussion about, you've submitted a little information on hours of operation and so forth, and just so everybody is clear, this is down on the back and the bottom of the
No,
building?
this is going to be up front on the left side of T-Mobile.
Okay, so it's up front, not
Yes.
where the axes
No.
were?
Not where the axe throwing is.
Right, okay. Yeah, it's confusing because the,
Can I ask a question, Mr. Chairman? You want them to present themselves?
but
Are they done?
do you
So
have
it's-
any more that you want to present?
So it's 7 days a week. We give the hours, Monday to Saturday is 10 to 9, and Sunday is 10 to 6. And what else?
Normal
Those are,
hours, right?
Normal hours.
normal liquor store.
Actually, town permits more, but we will just go to
There
10.
was, I heard there was a complaint about too many liquor stores on Silas Deane within a short distance. Do you agree with that or not, and why?
I've had liquor stores as well in other towns. Answering your question, it goes by population as well, and then it also goes by the
Distance.
metro. I guess all the liquor stores have to be there. They cannot be on a residential road.
Or near school or near church or anything like that.
Yes.
And they're probably not, you don't feel you're really too close to too many other liquor stores?
There are already existing liquor stores right across from each other as well.
And there was a vacancy recently down,
Exactly. Bevmax liquor store
Was the one
closed.
closed out, was across
recently.
from other
that's
liquor
within your
stores.
same area of operation or clientele, right?
Yes.
Besides, this, as I think our chairman would agree with me, that you can't really control it. The only control really is the state of Connecticut issues only so many within a certain population. And,
Yes, it goes by the population, and
We would do it. This is the 5th one, I guess, in town, and I guess, or something like that, and I guess this is, you're replacing another one that went vacant, as I just said. right?
yes, we are just replacing a permit.
That I-
Not
I
replacing, we're
understand.
picking up their permit, yes.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? All right, before open it up to the public, we did get a couple pieces of correspondence. One was an email from 899 Silas Deane opposing it, saying there were already 5 liquor stores on the Silas Deane and that the foot traffic is dangerous. There's a letter that we received this afternoon from Attorney Kuzmak on behalf of By Right Liquors and Manusos Liquors strongly opposing it because of close proximity to other alcoholic beverage establishments, creating an undue concentration, that there's no public need for another liquor store, and that the proposed location is not suitable for a significant increase of in and out traffic, especially from a single access because it's close to the Route 3 intersection. Did you have anything else you wanted to say at this point before we open it up to the public?
No, we can go ahead.
Okay, we can relax. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to comment?
We can go back.
Yeah, you can sit down in any of the chairs.
Hey, everybody. 68 Beverly Road. My name is Drew. This is
I'm
Barbara.
Barbara Franchi, 68 Beverly Road. I've lived there for 35 years. And one of the things is that they're talking about, I believe, Pelton's went in there for a short period of time, and my mother was ill, and I couldn't get in and get out for anything. It's right next to City Fish, it's right by Route 3, and the traffic is terrible. As it is now, Burger King causes a lot of problems. And you got City Fish, Burger King, the traffic is terrible.
So to add to that, and I support anyone who's doing a business. I mean, so there's many different businesses. I understand the point of the vacancy and that rent burden and everything else. Completely get it. There's another package store. I didn't measure it, but are we talking 50 yards?
Stop. It's right there.
Well, I mean, I mean, as we come out of Beverly, I'll be looking at a package store there, and I'll be looking at a package store there.
And there's also one at the end of Beverly. There's
On the top
D&D
of Beverly,
Market, and
next
we
to-
got Spiro's package store
So we're
here,
gonna
and this package store here. I really don't feel it's good for our
Yeah.
neighborhood.
And as far as I just heard something about someone saying there's too many. The one that just went out of business next to Marshall's. That was next to Pasta Vita, the new
That Boardman.
residential building there, it couldn't support it. So I just feel that, we have the turning lane to come into Beverly, like it's the third lane, I don't know what you guys call it, in the
it's
middle
not even
of Silas Deane Highway. Okay, that's an issue as it is, and,
It's crazy.
a package store is an in and out thing, and I think it's not, and again, for the owners of the building, I completely wish you success. There's a package store right there, there's a package store right there. It's just not good for that area.
One of the other things is people cross the Silas Deane. They run from Tobler, and they try to run across to Burger King. If they have a package store there to run across to, we're going to have somebody hit. It's a bad place.
Yeah, I would just like to consider that it's just not a good place. I mean, we got package stores literally right next to each other. I know not foot-wise, and again, I wish you guys the best at finding that. It's just,
Not a package
almost
store.
anything else, it's just right next to each other. So, sorry, I don't want to be redundant on it, but I'd really like to
Not have a package store.
not have another package store literally a stone's throw from each other. So, thank you very much for your time.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Ms. Bradley, good evening. My name is Richard Kuzmak, as some of you know, former long-term resident of Wethersfield. I still currently practice law, south end of Hartford, with my partners Ray Wazalis, Patty McVeigh, and Joe Babisi. And I'm here tonight in opposition to the application. And I have with me Mr. Sam Shaw, the owner and proprietor of the By Right liquor store just to the south of us, just described by the couple that spoke just before me. And I also have Nish Patel, who is an owner and proprietor of the Manusos liquor store, which is just to the north of us, as you know, down the street. I submitted an email memorandum to Ms. Bradley earlier today, which I hope is part of the record and that you all have copies of. I do have additional copies if anyone is missing. And I won't reiterate everything that's in that letter. I would like to emphasize a few points, frankly, that have just been made by the couple that preceded me. Just because there's a permit available doesn't mean, obviously, that it needs to be granted. You, as you're well aware, are going to evaluate this application in the context of the regulations, specifically Article 5 and Article 8. All of the points that the couple just made were ones that I was going to make. In addition to that, there are already 5 liquor store permits on the Silas Deane Highway, and another close by on Rocky Hill, just over the border. There is also at least one additional permit for the sale of beer on the Silas Deane Highway. In our view, and I hope you'll come to the same conclusion, that once you view that number of permits in connection with a proposed permit, which is within a couple hundred feet of the by right store, it constitutes an undue concentration of permits in the Silas Deane area. Similarly, one of the criteria contained in Article 5 is that there needs to be justification of a public need for the use. Surely it would be a stretch for one to argue that there's a need for another liquor store permit, especially so close to the existing by right permit on the highway. It just, I believe, is an inappropriate use at that particular location. Additionally, as we all know, the intersection of Route 3 and the Silas Deane Highway contains a huge volume of traffic coming from all directions. As the couple described, the typical package store client is going to want to park close to the front door, is going to want to get in and out safely, and I don't see that as possible at this particular location, which is very close to the intersection of Route 3 and the Silas Deane Highway. So I would urge you to consider this application in consideration of the regulations which I've more specifically identified in the letter, and hopefully you'll come to the same conclusion that there's ample justification that this is an inappropriate use for that particular location. Thank you.
Mr. Kuzmak, I'm glad to see you back. I haven't seen you for a long time.
Thank you. It's been a while.
And I haven't seen you lately. However, you know they do have parking down back and access through the back side.
Yes.
They didn't bring that out in their just now in their presentation, but I went down and looked at it because I'm concerned with the pavement out back. I think it's theirs. And they're marked out back there, that whole big parking lot and stuff. They do have spaces out there. I don't think it's on the city fish side, but I even thought I read that somewhere, but I'm not sure of that one. Anyway, so they do have other access to that store. Does that make a difference in what you just said?
In my opinion, the parking that's available in the rear and even on the north side of the building does not fulfill a function for a package store. No, sir. I think as you've heard described, the typical client, purchaser in a package store wants to be very close to the front door so that they can carry their purchases to their automobile.
That's what you and the neighbor across the street are making.
Yeah, I don't see somebody parking in the rear, walking or driving through the access way of City Fish to come to the front door to make a purchase and then walk all the way back to the car. I mean, I just don't see it happening.
They can go in the back door, but I don't think they will.
I don't think it is either.
I agree.
And not only that, but they've got to get out to Route 3, and that's a terrible intersection in and of itself.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Anyone else wishing to speak on this application? Anybody else? All right. If not, do the applicants want to come back up and respond to the comments and provide any other information that I think is appropriate at this time?
So he's talking about the parking lot. We have plenty of parking lot, 14 space, and there's also City Fish, which their half of the parking lot is also in our property as well. And we have parkings in the back, and we see a liquor store with the street parkings.
Part of City Fishers parking lot is your?
It's
spot?
our property.
It's in our property as well, yes.
So all these
That's what I
years,
read.
we've been
Okay,
sharing
thank you.
that little
For
strip
confirming
over there.
And we see the package store with the street parking, so we have plenty of parking. That shouldn't be an issue for the parking.
Excuse me, so just clarify the City Fish, so it's on the north side of your building, where you share parking with City
Yes.
Fish? You own the land?
Yes.
Yes, half of the parking lot goes to our land, and half is there.
Just the row of cars that abuts your building on the north side? Like where,
Yes, the whole row from the back to the front, pretty much half of the car, if you park a car, half the car would be on our property, half would be
half
on
of
the
the property, you
yes.
have an agreement with them, long-term agreement?
Yes,
so they
all
can't
these
build
years
it.
we've been sharing, yes.
It goes with the building, right? It's a land use agreement?
How would you feel about paving the spots back of your building, which seem to be in potholes so big that you drive a car in?
Like we'll take care of it, like we did it few years
We
back.
were
You
supposed
guys
to do.
had requested to do some, like
What's that? Say it
few
again.
years back when we opened the exit, you guys had told us to do some parking spaces and redraw the parking.
Yeah,
We have done all that, whatever you guys required. If you want us to do something on a parking lot, that can be done.
There's two potholes that we need to take care of, so we will take care of it.
thank you.
Does anybody else have questions for the applicant? Denise, is there anything that we should know?
I mean, essentially with the regulations pertaining to alcoholic beverages, we do not set a minimum distance requirement between other establishments. So it is in the judgment of the commission that, a concentration not be established. This application is a result of the BevMax facility closing. I did get several inquiries for different properties. This was just the first one that happened to come in.
Okay. And just, I know you shut the book, but I mean, the exact words are something like, so they wouldn't result in an undue concentration such that alcohol establishments become a predominant characteristic of the neighborhood or something?
Right, where the sale or consumption of alcoholic beverages may not be perceived as a dominant characteristic of the neighborhood or area.
Okay,
Is that the case here?
that's for us to decide.
Okay, I never heard the definition of it, that's why.
We read it every time.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, but.
Is that the general special permit criteria?
Joe, do you have any feelings about undue concentration?
Well, I was just asking Denise to read us the other regulation
I'm
on the
looking
special
for
permit.
professional opinions, zoning opinions, so what do
Oh.
you think?
Yeah, well, there's three buildings in between, so it's the liquor store, the computer store, what used to be a church, now it's the math place.
Yeah, so
Then then Burger King, then there's City Fish that has a liquor license, and then
can Denise read 8.9D, which was the other one cited in the letter?
So that states that the use will enhance community development and not result in excessive numbers of proximity of like uses, incompatibility with neighboring uses, lack of public need, or other conditions that the commission would impair the vitality and character of surrounding uses, properties, or dramatically alter the development pattern of the community.
Okay. All right. Do we have anything else that we want to find out from the applicants before we close the hearing and talk about this?
Excuse me for asking you to repeat something.
Sure.
But what did you say about the parking behind your building that you own? That when I looked at it, it looked awful. I mean, it was all.
No, it was the last time when we
Is that
had-
are those your spots, number one?
Yes, George.
Because I didn't see you present any site plan, so I don't know.
It's here.
I'm operating blind here.
No, those are our parking spots in the back too, right behind the building.
You would be what?
Right behind the building, those are.
Yeah, right behind, I believe.
Those belong to the
There are
bu-
potholes
yes.
there, and they need to be repaired.
Yes, they do, yes,
We'll
you're
do it,
right.
yep.
And usually, and you're the owners of the building.
Yes.
Yes.
Your land
So
goes
they're
all the way
yours
to the
then. Okay.
railroad tracks, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, it's in the package.
Yeah, I said, wow.
All right, anything else that we want to discuss with them? Anything else for us?
No, we're
Okay,
we're good.
someone want to make a motion to close the hearing?
Motion to close.
Second.
All right, motion by Jim, second by Peter to close the hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, hearing's closed. Do we want to have a discussion, or does somebody want to make a motion?
I'll start with a discussion, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind. I mean, with all due respect to this applicant, and, you know, fully in support of businesses, in my opinion, I think in this location, safety is a concern. I mean, I went there a couple times, getting in and out of there. It's busy. It's extremely busy. People coming from that intersection, turning, can box you in. And I think that's my main concern with this application. That the intensity of in and out, people purchasing and coming in and out, is not, and it's not a good situation. I can't support it because of that. Now, concerning proximity to others, I'm a little ambivalent on that. I mean, I think it's up to them to decide if a business would succeed or fail with other businesses nearby. And it's kind of a gray area, and I'm not here to say that I think that's a reason for my concern. My reason is because I think it's just not the right place to have in and out traffic continually, as I would envision a package store to have. So for that reason, I can't support this application.
In other words, Peter, what you're saying, it's a business that's too busy. There could be almost any other business going in there that would have less traffic.
Yeah. I mean, if you had a pizza place there, I would have the same concern. It's just, you know, takeout pizza, any takeout restaurant, a takeout coffee shop would be a concern. It's not the fact that it's a package store or it's proximity to others. I just think that the volume of in and out would be a problem in this particular corner area. And I think the neighbor who lives across there pointed that out and saw it. And, I mean, I believe them, because, I mean, I felt that the couple times I went in and out myself, and you're living there, so that's my main reason.
Peter, can I ask you a question, or them?
Well, no, you can't ask them, we closed the hearing.
You can ask me that.
I don't
Yeah.
know, I'll ask him, but, yeah, never mind.
All right.
Are they the owners, they're the owners of the building?
Yes.
The whole building?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, then I can't ask them a question. Can I ask them a question? Yeah, they.
No,
the
we closed the,
hearing-
we closed the hearing, you
Oh,
voted on it.
They can sit down then. so I'm
Yeah.
concerned. Okay.
You can sit down now.
My question is, have they had anybody else interested in the space?
They went through it. went
Yeah,
through the whole
they
thing.
said that they had 2 or 3 commercial realtors
They
working
did
for
say
them.
that, I'm sorry, I missed it.
Yeah.
I just want to add, there is the second exit behind the building, so.
Joe?
Yes, I agree. I share your safety concerns, Peter, but beyond that, and just looking at the regulations that pertain to the alcohol use, I do feel that it would be an undue concentration to have another package store so close to the existing, and I question whether there's a need for it, and I do think the nature of the use with very rapid, in and out, sort of adds to the mix. But just from a do we need every 300 feet to have a package store on the Silas Deane Highway, that's a concern of mine.
Okay. Anyone else? Tom, do you?
Yeah, just a minor comment. For me, the controlling issue is the degree of traffic congestion in that area and the overall safety of, ingress and egress out of that parcel. The safety concern, I think, is probably the overriding concern that I have with regards to the application. I'm aware that the regulations have the matter of concentration of such businesses as one of the criteria that we should examine. In my opinion, I don't think that's a controlling concern, but issues of safety is I think paramount, at least in my mind.
Okay. Jim, do you have any comments or thoughts?
Yeah, I guess one comment that I have, and I don't, it sort of is cautionary reaction to the conversation we've had here today is, the immediate properties to the north are Burger King, which is basically designed to have people come and go. Just beyond that is City Fish, that's designed to have people come and go. Then there's an office building, and then there's the computer store, and then there's another package store, which is designed to have people come and go. I fear that we're reacting to one proposed use in such a way that we're making it unnecessarily difficult for the property owner, the applicant wearing the property owner hat, to find anybody who can go in there that would satisfy or would not trigger our same concerns about people coming and going. I think everyone has a valid point that package stores are designed for high turnover and so forth. But, the fact that, 6 or 7 businesses have failed there in living memory, I don't know whether, which is causation and which is correlation, or, whether it's just the nature of the location or what. And I'm wary about basically stigmatizing it by making a decision, that's based on people coming and going, that we determine that it's an inappropriate use. So, I hear what everybody's saying, and I don't necessarily disagree with any of it. It's just that it concerns me a little bit.
Just as a response to that, understand your point totally, Mr. Chairman, but at some point, we have to draw a line. Just can't keep packing situations into that corner. I'd love to see something with less intensity go in there. Perhaps this is what needs to be done at some point.
Okay. All right. Does somebody want to make a motion then?
I'll make a motion that application, see if I get my glasses on. 217-22Z, Pritesh Patel and Bhavin Patel seeking a special permit in accordance with section 5.8 alcohol beverages of the Wethersfield Zoning Regulations to operate liquor store at 898 to 904 Silas Deane Highway be denied for the reasons stated in this discussion, primarily because of the safety issue concerning with the
intensity in and out of a liquor store.
All right.
Somebody want to second that?
I'll second.
Okay. Motion by Peter, second by Joe. Do we want to have any further discussion?
I guess I would just add, I sympathize with the owner applicant in terms of being able to use the space, but, and I also appreciate there may be other business uses that don't require a special permit, but this one does. I think our regulations treat it very specifically, hold it to a very high standard, and it's sort of the whole mix of things that make me uncomfortable
What's the highest standard?
requiring a special permit, unlike other business uses. You know, and the I don't think there's been a demonstration of need to have another one specifically to serve the public. So I'm concerned that they are able to find somebody for their property, but just equally concerned to vote to deny this particular application.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion? All right, if not, the motion is to deny. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
No. No. All right. So somebody should make a motion to approve it.
How'd you vote, Jim?
No, I voted to not have the liquor store.
So it's three.
It takes five.
It's almost
5 votes to carry, so a motion to deny is not a motion to approve. So somebody needs to make a motion to approve that will have to fail.
I move to approve. Again, so that procedurally, what you're saying, Rich, is if it fails to carry 5 votes to approve, then it is a denial.
Right.
I
Yeah.
move to approve.
Yeah, a negative vote on a motion to
Right.
deny doesn't do anything.
Okay.
I understand.
Okay. All right. Motion by Joe to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Tom. All in favor of the motion to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 3. Motion opposed?
Opposed.
All right. 3 to 3, motion fails. Application is denied. All right. Next item, 3.5, public hearing, 2120-22Z. Sheena Pinot seeking special permit in accordance with section 5.8.
You did that, right? I'm sorry, which one are we doing?
3.5.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, please proceed.
Section 5.8, alcoholic beverages of the Wethersfield Zoning Regulations for the sale of alcoholic beverages at 446 Silas Deane Highway.
Hi, good evening. I'm Sheena Pinot.
Hi. Could you pull the microphone closer? Or
Yep.
You're probably not a loud yeller to begin with, but you want to pick it up.
Oh, you should see it on the good days.
Sheena Pinot, 2 Chiltern Street, Farmington, Connecticut.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, members of the commission. My name is Mohin Kapadwala, M-O-H-I-N, last name K-A, P as in Peter, A, D as in David, W-A-L-A. I'm with Liquor Permit Consultant LLC, located at 164 East Center Street, Manchester, Connecticut. Good evening.
Good evening. All right.
I currently own, I can do it. I currently own and operate Grand Cafe Coffee Lounges on 446 Silas Deane. I purchased the business in November 2021, and I opened for business in February of 2022. It was formerly Grand Cafe Marketplace, and I just added Coffee Lounge. I currently serve a full menu, breakfast all day. We serve Latin food and, regular American breakfast all day. And I am proposing to serve alcohol because it's just to be a part of the culture that I'm trying to bring to Wethersfield as far as the Latin community and Caribbean community goes. And also because I get a lot of people coming and asking me about the bookstore and the wine they used to offer, so.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, George.
How's your business going at this point?
It's going.
The serving of food, you think, or the wine rather, your application,
Mhm.
it's going to help with your food?
Yes, significantly, yes, it is. As of right now, with the food that I do serve, especially like in the afternoons, I do get people asking me for, alcoholic beverages,
Yes,
yeah.
like they used to in the
Yeah, with the bookstore,
right?
yeah, I hear that all day.
And there's no parking issue problems with it?
No.
You do have parking there, I
Yes,
know you
in the
do.
front and the back,
And it's in good condition.
yes.
Okay.
Peter?
Just curious, when I read this, it's intriguing. What exactly, for your cuisine, what kind of alcoholic beverages will you serve? I mean, isn't it just usual cocktails, or is there something special? What do you have in mind?
Oh, I'm requesting a full liquor because if you've been to the Caribbean, rum is a big thing. So like pina coladas, things along that nature. We don't really drink wine and just beer. So when it comes to like those type of cocktails, I would need like a full liquor. With that cuisine.
Joe? Is there so would everyone consuming alcohol be seated at tables
Yes, I have
eating?
tables inside, yes, correct.
And there's not a separate bar area in there?
No, there's no bar,
Okay.
no.
If I may interject, members of the commission. The restaurant, as previously mentioned, is a dine-in restaurant. It has 28 seats and 7 tables, and has a dining square footage of 1,132 square feet. She is eligible and does qualify under the regulations of the Department of Consumer Protection to be able to get a restaurant liquor permit, which only requires 400 square feet of dining space and only 20 chairs. And this, as Ms. Pinot had just mentioned, this would be a complement to her Latin cuisine that she serves. I think she had mentioned to me she does a lot of empanadas as well. So that would really add to the diversity and help promote different cultures within the community. And she's done a phenomenal job so far. I had notes, which I'll let her continue. Oh, one other thing, if I may, I'm sorry. There was, as you all know, at the bookstore, there was a previous liquor permit as recent as June of 2021. So it's a relatively recent phenomena. And they had a full liquor permit under a tavern permit.
Okay. Anybody else have questions? All right. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to comment on this application?
No, I got one question, if you mind.
Sure. We haven't closed the
You
hearing
have
yet.
access from
so-
the back? You don't? Just the
For
front?
customers?
You have access from the back to into the...
No, they walk around or
business?
the steps.
You can come in the stairway?
Yep, around from the back.
Many people do that?
Yes.
Most do, or half?
From the back? They all park in the back because they
all
don't
park in
realize
back,
that
so
there's.
everybody comes in that way?
Yeah.
No, rare parking out front. What is that, 3 or 4 spaces out front there? or 2 or
3, 1 handicap and 2 compact.
Yeah, okay, I knew it was very minor.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Just so I understand his question and your answer, people do come in the back door and walk up? or
Oh,
they
no,
walk
back
around-
door. They come from the back into the front. The back door is only for the kitchen.
Yeah, they park in the back and they walk up the driveway.
Up the side of the building and to
Yeah.
the right into the front of the...
Why don't they walk up they don't want to walk inside, up the stairway? or
Well,
the
the stairs
backside?
lead to the front door. There's no back door. There's only one back door, but that's for the prep kitchen.
Coming up that driveway bothers me.
Yeah.
It's not my thing.
Okay. Again, is there anybody in the public that wants to speak on this? All right, do we have any other questions or comments for the applicant? Do you have anything else you want to tell us before we close the hearing?
Just that the liquor is only as a complement to what their primary business would be, is the sale of food, and liquor would be provided with the food.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and it's, there is no like bar to sit at and drink. It's, you have to eat to sit.
Correct.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
All right, thank you. All right, anything else before we close the hearing? Thank you. Is there a motion to close?
Motion to close.
Second.
All right.
Second.
Motion by Joe, second by Jim and George. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, hearing's closed. Someone want to make a motion on the application?
Make a motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
All right, motion
Any
to...
conditions, Denise, on it, you need?
I don't have any conditions to
A
that.
free pina colada when we do this?
And we don't think this creates an undue concentration because there's a package store, you know, a quarter mile away?
Oh, I think the issue's gonna be, we have only dine-in. We're not gonna have people carrying six-packs out the door.
I know. All right. Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, congratulations, good luck.
Thank you.
Need a break.
Mr. Chairman, can we have a recess for 5 minutes or so?
We can have a recess for 5 minutes.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
All right,
Okay.
good luck.
Yes, when you gonna have the liquor going?
Oh, well, now we have to, from what I understand.
It says 11:30.
To get the approval letter. File it
You need
down.
the state approval letter? What's that? I'm sorry.
I have to wait a couple, 2 weeks to get the letter from zoning. that
Oh, I
filed
see, they
down
wait for us.
And then you guys will sign off on the
They-
We're almost there.
Oh, very good, okay.
Thank you very
Glad
much.
to
Good
know
night.
that parameter, a couple of weeks, huh? Okay, thanks.
Yeah, that would be good.
Don't you have anything else to do besides sit here and at council meetings?
I'm a liaison to the council, I haven't been here.
God.
He's here to see you,
You
George.
really like to punish yourself, don't you?
I was here till 1 o'clock last night. The meeting went till
I
1
believe
o'clock.
you might have. And I actually
Testing,
listened to one of
testing,
your
1, 2.
meetings recently, and I found it interesting. I don't do that very often, because I don't enjoy that kind of punishment, so.
Batteries blew up inside.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, I'll go over there.
You sure?
Especially because nobody's here. Okay. Yeah, what did we do? So I'll tell Mark we blew up, yeah.
He knows that, he knows what I do.
And you did the concept, or no, the site plan has like the crosswalk and all. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so do that one and then maybe, yeah, put it like that. Yeah. That's perfect.
Oh, yes. What are you doing here?
Good question. What are you doing here?
I'm still hanging in.
Yeah, I see that.
God knows
How many
why.
years, George?
Doing all right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, good to see you.
You get retired.
Which thing are you doing?
Where's Starbucks?
Yeah, I go with that.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I'm here in case you have particular
I
questions
mean, you're-
about the engineering.
Technical.
But I talked to two of the engineers, I went in there today.
Yeah,
Yeah, talked to them, but I had to ask questions.
because you don't have me to ask anymore.
They answered one question, which was the back lot, and it goes,
All the way
it's
through.
landlocked.
No, it's not. It goes
I
all the
looked
way
at it in
through.
the old days, they asked it.
It goes all the way through.
No, I told me, huh?
That goes all the way through. Goes all the way
I know
through.
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got this Kent Road thing.
And, yeah, well.
Yeah, when they putting that
Is
in?
that on, see, I wasn't sure.
You want a history lesson
No,
on that?
no, I don't.
I researched Kent Road back to 1803, when I worked here, to try to prove we didn't own it, and our own town attorney said we did.
My real reason I couldn't read the damn plans at home. So he had to show me where the walkout was, because I think it's a great idea.
Who helps you now? We are? Who helps you now? We are?
Who what?
Who helps you now? We are?
Oh, yeah. No, well, he helped me.
He helped you.
He helps me. Yeah. Yeah, he actually knows, he knows a few things. He said he's a reasonable engineer. You're not the only one.
These maps are so hard to read. The number with the triangle.
Oh, I'm saying both of them.
Do they always have all these numbers or is it just that?
You always comment on the page.
I was like, dude, I cannot tell at all where. I was like, that's a pipe, but then after that it was like lost. It's crazy. When do they think this stuff? Because it's like 15.
There's 15 segments.
They're all like in a row.
Yeah, they're across 3 units.
Oh, wow.
And then they're trying to replace them all, but that one, this is but they don't, that's what they.
Plus or minus 6 years.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what the one around.
She's smarter than me. She's smarter than me. She drive that computer pretty well.
I'm glad you guys are on early during the class. So I would pin it, let you be going on about 11.
I think your commission left you. Right. I think your commission left you.
I think so, must be maybe elsewhere, huh?
How are we
If I go find out what the hell I got. Oh, God.
They did two shed applications. First and second, they're like 545. Next one is
I talked to him. I said, I can't find it. I was playing where the walk-up window is.
Yeah.
I didn't want to landlock. They pointed out, oh, it goes all the way back.
You went to Close Judson Miller to
Huh?
You went to Close Judson Miller to ask them?
I haven't done that in years, for a few years. So I didn't know what I'd run into, but I got the answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw that. You were aiming at me, you missed.
No, I'd rather go in there. Why bother you?
Only thing I
Huh?
have to do with the.
Maybe a
Oh,
couple
no,
questions,
that's
I
not
could
your
call on the phone and
Yeah,
grab
that's
her
not your
and
fault.
ask her, but I'd rather bother them. They're free time. You cost money. Town, the taxpayer.
So now he knows where to find you there.
Well, you know, the funny thing was, I go to work with Kevin and I tell him the story.
Yeah, see, Kevin is the real engineer.
Yeah.
So I found out his wife helps him, keeps him out of trouble.
I'm just sharp.
Huh?
I'm just sharp.
Yeah, I'm sure she is. So-
The Vikings called part of North America Vikings.
Really?
So
Maybe it was different climate then.
well, not that much. Colder. Colder than now. Of course, the Vikings were around 800 to 1000 AD, so that was the last time that we had, large droughts in North America, so.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, this is the
I guess they want to do something.
driest, the driest century in 1,200 years.
Oh, wow.
1,200 years ago was 800 AD,
George, is this gonna be like a 5-minute presentation?
9th century.
Is it about 5 minutes on this one?
The world was busy.
I told him, make it at least 2 hours.
Yeah, just fix the potholes. All right, next item, 3.6, public hearing 212122Z, Joseph Sulo seeking special permit and site plan and design review in accordance with section 52C4, drive-up bank ATM, 52D2, retail and service establishments, 52F2, outdoor dining, 52F3, restaurant drive-through, and 56, exceptions for business redevelopment of the Wethersfield Zoning Regulations for the redevelopment of existing property at 1862 Berlin Turnpike.
All right, good evening. For the record, my name is Megan Hope. I'm an attorney with Alter and Pearson and Glastonbury. We've assembled the team here tonight for the presentation. We have the property owner and developer, Joe Sulo, currently owns the property and will be redeveloping it. Kevin Johnson, our landscape architect from Close Jensen & Miller. Mark Vertucci, our traffic engineer. Chris Sabidio, our professional engineer. We have Vince Babick, our architect. So we should be able to answer any of the questions that the commission has. As the call of the hearing indicated, this is a special permit application for 1862 Berlin Turnpike. We are applying for a special permit under various sections of 5.2 and 5.6 of the regulations. We will be redeveloping the site. There is an existing building currently. It's about 14,000 square foot building located on the east side of Berlin Turnpike, almost directly across the street from Arrow Road. One interesting thing to point out about this site is that Pent Road right-of-way is directly to the north of our property. It's a very small portion of it is actually paved. So what I'm highlighting right here with my finger is the Pent Road right-of-way. So when we talk a little bit later about some of the improvements we're doing, some of those are within the town right-of-way, but it's not, a typical street that you would think of. Berlin Turnpike obviously is a state road. I'm highlighting with my finger the limits of the DOT right-of-way. We do have some improvements and striping that are proposed within that. Mark will discuss that a little bit further, but we obviously will need an encroachment permit for that work. We are proposing to demo the existing building and construct a new building. It'll be located a little bit further back on the site, about 8,100 square feet. It's going to have 4 proposed tenant spaces. I'll just throw this up. The tenant space to the north will be a Starbucks. It'll have both a drive-through window and also a walk-up window for mobile orders, so they don't have to go inside the tenant space. We'll also have a sandwich shop in the space located in the middle, also a ice cream shop and a hair salon. There is going to be a freestanding Chase Bank ATM located towards the front of the site. We did secure a variance in February to have that located closer to the street than is allowed by the zoning regulations. I think right now I'm going to hand it over to Kevin to keep things moving. He can go through some of the site circulation and the landscape waivers, and then we'll keep it moving.
For the record, Kevin Johnson, Close Jensen & Miller. Attorney Hope did a great job with the overview of the site. Just to back up a little bit, I always like to give a good orientation so everyone knows, how the site plan is oriented. So direction north is to the top of the sheet, Berlin Turnpike is to the left, the storage facility to the bottom. Vacant land to the east of our property, which extends up to Goff Road. And again, Pent Road extends from Berlin Turnpike to Goff Road. So we started working on this project literally about a year ago. I think we had our first staff meeting last September. That was primarily to discuss, at the time, the Chase ATM, which is located here. We spent an enormous amount of time, multiple concepts, working with Starbucks, working with staff, the fire marshal, et cetera. We developed numerous concepts trying to get the parking, pedestrian circulation on site, the bypass lane, drive-through lane. It was one obstacle after another.
What kind of obstacle?
Well, just site circulation. We couldn't get refuse vehicles through, delivery vehicles. A lot of the parking, we didn't have as large a parking field in the front. Part of the parking was to the rear. We had a 3-foot sidewalk on the south side of the building. We did not feel that was adequate to convey pedestrians to the front.
So you were a little squeezed on the north side and the south side, but you made it work.
Especially the south side. But there really was no good solution with the parking to the rear, plus the site circulation, deliveries, and so forth. So that's when the decision was made by the owner to raise the existing building and develop a new building footprint, and as Attorney Hope mentioned, push it farther back on the site. What that did was allowed us to create a larger parking field in the front, 2 double bays of parking. The site, the site circulation to the Chase ATM is from the north to the south, and that can, patrons can then just circulate through the site. In terms of the Starbucks, again, it's on the north side of the building. This colored canopy area here, that's the drive-through pickup. So the drive-through lane begins on the south side of the building, comes around. There's queuing for 14 vehicles. At vehicle space number 7 is the order point.
Wait a minute, 14 from where?
From
the window to?
From the pickup
where?
window back to the beginning point is 14 vehicle.
But they
queue.
could line up in that driveway too, right? Yeah. In
This
front of
driveway
the-
here?
yeah.
Well, Starbucks has a minimum of 12
I'm thinking of
queues.
Starbucks is the same everywhere, so.
But Starbucks has a minimum queue length of 12 vehicles. We're providing 2 more.
Well, that's theory. I mean, I'm talking about reality, you know what I mean? Come on.
You could have 20, I guess, but the bypass lane, again, is on the outside. We did accommodate a WB50 delivery vehicle. That template is indicated in various points on the site plan. Again, I should mention this entrance configuration is slightly different than what was in your packets. Part of it was developed in response to town engineer comments. Basically, the entrance drive shares this entranceway with Atlantic Inn to the north. So you not only have vehicles entering the site for 1862, but you also have for the Atlantic Inn. The traffic engineer is recommending 2 egress lanes, a right lane, and then a straight to Arrow Road and a combined left.
Did you get DOT to comment on things before our approval?
I'm not
Did you have
sure
conversations
if.
with them?
Okay, traffic
Did
engineer
they
is
talk
saying.
to you? I mean, I'm serious, they're getting weird this way.
I'll let the traffic engineer in his presentation explain to the degree.
Never mind, I'm sorry. It's got me concerned as, back and forth, who can go first.
Okay, so we have 1 egress lane accommodating a ingress lane accommodating a WB50, but not to encroach in the egress lanes. What we're proposing is a raised textured concrete apron of sorts. And that's indicated by that shaded area. One other thing which we've layered into here, since your information packets went out, it was brought to our attention that ConnDOT is proposing some walkway signal improvements at this intersection. This is the pedestrian crosswalk they're proposing, as well as 2 short sidewalk stubs with ADA ramps. So overall, we're proposing 57 parking spaces.
Is there a sidewalk there, north and south, what you propose?
Along the frontage?
Yeah.
No.
That's the only piece?
ConnDOT is proposing just 2 small pieces.
They're proposing it?
ConnDOT is.
That's why they're putting up all those big new lights. Okay, never mind. I'm sorry, okay.
Wake me up when it's over, George.
So brown shading in front of the building, that represents sidewalks. We're proposing 3 ADA spaces separated by a green landscape strip to get to the sidewalk. Outside, patio area, which will have a couple tables in front of Starbucks, as well as a smaller patio in front of the sandwich shop. We are including a provision for a bicycle rack, which is located right here. There'd be low fencing around that patio area. 2 dumpster areas, one exclusively dedicated to Starbucks in the northeast corner of the site, and a second one for the remainder tenants in the southwest, or southeast corner of the site, I'm sorry. So moving on to site grading, as all of you, I think, are familiar with the site, it's extremely flat. This site also contains a 100-year floodplain, but it didn't have a defined flood elevation. We had a discussion with the town engineer, basically for comparison purposes, what contour elevation to use to determine whether we had a net fill or a loss of flood storage, or whether we had a net cut or an increase in flood storage. That's what the blue and the brown represents. Raising the existing building, creating a new building, what that allowed us to do was to raise the existing elevation, or raise a proposed elevation of the proposed building by 1 foot, thereby allowing us to create multiple low points around the site. And what that did was it allowed us to create an additional 111.5 cubic yards of flood storage. And we did get wetlands approval a couple weeks ago for that work.
Where's the flood come from? The swamp behind you?
Right.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it floods a lot.
The other thing that raising the finished floor of the proposed
No, because you raised the floor of the buildings, you've got low spots around the front, right? So.
Right.
And what did they say about it?
Well, creating these
What'd
low
you say about
spots.
the town engineer say?
Creating the low spots allowed us to create additional cut, which meant more flood storage.
Oh, okay.
And inland wetlands approved that a couple weeks ago.
Oh, they did, oh. Thank you.
Raising the finished floor of the proposed building by 1 foot, it also allowed us to grade the site in such a manner to include a couple LID features. We have a water quality basin in the north, lined with some river rock in the middle section on the north side of the building, similar treatment on the south side of the building. There'd be no curbs on either of those features. We also have another LID feature in the front here, portions where there's no curb, where water can sheet flow into a grassed area.
So you'll have no off-site drainage?
No, I'll get to that in a minute. These are just our LID features.
Okay.
So in terms of the proposed utility systems, again, this is an existing site. There's already existing utility connections to this site. We're going to be, connecting to existing lateral connections either on site or within the CONDOT right-of-way. Basically, all utility systems are routed to come into the rear of the building. For the restaurant uses, we are proposing a grease oil separator to be located in the southeast corner of the site. That'll connect to the sanitary system. In terms of storm drainage, to your point, again, creating all these low points throughout the site, we've got numerous catch basins throughout the site, basically along the north, the south. They're all connected. They meet at an existing, it's going to be a proposed hydrodynamic separator, but it's located at the location today where there's an existing catch basin which conveys stormwater flow under the Berlin Turnpike to the west side of Berlin Turnpike. So that whole drainage pattern is going to stay basically the same.
Well, that was the same as with
That's where the real wetlands are.
yeah, I mean, it was the same thing that with the stone building 2 doors down.
So in terms of site landscaping, we have several large deciduous trees, some smaller ornamentals. Because we do have some confined areas in these water quality basin features, we are cognizant we don't want a lot of low tree branches. So we've used, I think it's 2 or 3 varieties of columnar type plants. The hornbeams here, the beeches, and then some buffering along the north side. And again, these are conifer, columnar conifer. We've also included numerous deciduous shrubs, broadleaved evergreens, low ground covers, and numerous herbaceous perennials, plantings around the ATM, frontage of the site, some plantings in the water quality basin, some arborvitae screening along the south by the storage units. This dark green represents existing wooded areas. We have our typical maintenance requirements for plantings, as well as installation, landscape notes, the plant schedule. As part of your information packet, there was a letter from myself regarding landscape waivers. Now there's 13 items noted there. However, we're only seeking 9 waivers for those. They were just basically tabulations of landscape requirements. So it's not as bad as some of my requests.
Yeah, I think we would worry if you weren't coming in with landscape.
If I didn't have any, you should be worried. So moving on to photometrics. Excuse me for a minute. So again, we had Apex Lighting develop a photometric plan for the site. As you can see, we have several single poles around the site. Those single poles in the parking lots, they're predominantly 20 feet. There's 3 in the front of the building, which are 12 feet. And then there's several building wall pack units, which are mounted at a 10-foot height. LEDs, white light, full cutoffs. They come in a variety of finishes. We're probably going to select dark bronze or black. Owners still to decide that. There are several locations on the site where the light intensities exceed what's allowed by zoning in the regulations. Primarily, it's at the entrance drive, at the Chase ATM, the drive-through pickup window, the entrance to the drive-through, and at the main entrance of the building in that walk-up window. The drive-throughs and at the building entrance and the site entrance, those are Starbucks requirements. For the Chase ATM, that's basically a security measure. Now, section 6.7.G.9 of your regulations allows the commission to grant modifications to the light intensities through the special permit application.
And explain that last comment. The light intensity is less because what?
There's several locations where the light intensities are higher. The foot
Higher,
candles.
and that's, you want
The foot candles at ground level is higher than what's allowed by zoning regulations, but that's basically tenant and security requirements. But the commission has the ability to approve that through section 6.7.
How much higher?
So at the building entry, the regulations allow 5-foot candles, and we're looking at in the vicinity of 23-foot candles. The drive-up window, again, 5-foot candles, we're looking at about 20. At the Chase ATM, we were looking at about 16-foot candles there. So, higher.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I guess one question I would have is, is there something that we drive by or that exists that we can use to kind of guess what 23-foot candles looks like?
I would probably liken it to maybe some lighting at a gas station, maybe under
Like
canopy.
underneath the canopy or
Underneath
something?
canopy
Okay.
type lighting.
All right.
And these are just some architectural renderings on the Chase ATM. These were developed by TKO Installations, designer for
Who?
Chase.
Has Chase approved them?
They supplied these drawings to our office. Again, these are draft drawings, they're not final, but again, if you're familiar with the new Chase across from our office, just to the south, basically it's the same installation. It's the same equipment, the same signage, the same coloration, the blue and the brown, the white Chase letters, the blue bollards, they're steel bollards with the covering, the blue covering sleeve over the top. So with that, I think I'm going to turn the presentation over to our traffic engineer, and after that, you'll hear from project architect.
Well, before you go, I don't mean to be obsessive, but talking about the light again, can you just show like the area that exceeds what we're looking for? And I guess the second question would be, basically, is the exceedance there, roughly comparable to what is across the street directly and across the street diagonally at the 7-Eleven in the Cumberland?
I don't know exactly what those foot candles are at those.
But I mean, just kind of
facilities.
order of magnitude type.
Again, I would say probably the under canopy lights at the pumps is probably an equivalent
Okay.
of what you'd be looking at.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm just trying to get at is that it's not like you're going to create the Starship Galactica here. It's limited areas, and it's comparable to what's across the street.
Right, I mean, just as an example to your point, the entrance drive here, whereas 5 is allowed and we're proposing, like the 23. Here's the pole, we have a 22.6, and right here in the drive aisle, it's down to 8.3.
Okay.
So I mean, you're about 20 feet away. 9 feet to the south, it's at 3.7.
Okay.
So it drops pretty quick.
What is it at the property line to the north? Property line to the north, what's the foot candles?
The property line here?
Yeah.
There's 1.6, 1.8, 1.1.
And on the south, where you had the high foot candle, what's that at the
At this
property?
entrance?
Right at the property line, what does that go down to?
It's 0.8, 1.5, 0.7.
And I guess the drive-through on the top right corner, are there buildings anywhere close to the?
This is the Pent Road.
Right, so if you go
driveway.
east of the drive-through, due east, are there houses?
No, it's.
Or is it?
Yeah, that's all the wooded area.
Okay.
And then the new building is kind of down to the southeast of it, and the Creek School is
Okay.
over there, but,
Creek is over here.
yeah,
Quite a ways.
yeah. All right, yeah, sorry to obsess,
problem.
but I just kind of wanted to,
Which plan would you want, the site plan?
Yeah, site plans. All right. Thanks, Kevin, and good evening. I'm Mark Fertucci, Vice President at Fuss & O'Neill, 146 Hartford Road in Manchester. Also a registered professional engineer and registered professional traffic operations engineer. Excuse me.
Fuss and O'Neill did prepare a traffic study to analyze the impacts of this mixed-use development on the Berlin Turnpike, and I just want to briefly describe our findings for you. Site, as has been talked about this evening, located on the east side of the Turnpike with the driveway opposite Arrow Road. The site is shared, the access is shared with the Atlantic Inn, which is to the north. The driveway is signalized, and that really benefits this site as it allows for safe and efficient egress from the property. Also wanted to note that there is a southbound left turn lane on the Berlin Turnpike and a dedicated or protected left turn arrow, so vehicles also can safely enter the property. In order to assess the impacts of this project on the signalized intersection, we did obtain the most recent turning movement counts that were done by the Connecticut DOT back in 2018, so these are pre-COVID counts, so conservative data that we're working with here. The counts were done in the morning and afternoon commuter peak hours, which are 7 to 8 a.m. and 4 to 5 p.m. So those are the highest peak hours of the day, and that's what we analyzed. We did go ahead and grow those counts up to what we expect to be the build or design year, excuse me, which is 2024.
The high count in the morning is when?
Pardon?
The high count in the morning was when?
7 to 8 a.m.
Oh,
and
I
then
thought so.
4 to 5 o'clock. Those are the two highest hours.
7 to 8. Okay, fine.
Yeah, so we grew those counts to the 2024 design year. We used a 0.5% per year growth rate. This was provided by the department. We also made sure we added the traffic from the new gas station across the street and the self-storage facility that went in on Arrow Road as well. As far as the traffic we expect to be generated by this site redevelopment, we did utilize rates for each of the proposed land uses that were provided in the Institute of Transportation Engineers Trip Generation Manual, which is an industry-accepted resource for determining traffic generation. So we generated rates for the coffee shop, the ice cream and sandwich shop, as well as the hair salon. I wanted to point out that given the nature of this development, particularly the Starbucks, this type of development really relies heavily on pass-by traffic. So that's traffic that's already on the road network. Maybe you're in your car and you're on your way to work on the Berlin Turnpike, and you just kind of divert your trip into the Starbucks. You get a coffee, and then you continue on your way. It's a pass-by trip. We're drawing from existing traffic on the road. It's not a new trip to the site. So we did take a 20% pass-by credit in this study, which we think is very conservative because some of the data for Starbucks and Dunkin' stores are greater than 50% pass-by. So we were conservative there. We also took an internal capture credit of 5%, and that's just to account for somebody who may visit multiple uses in a single trip. Go to the sandwich shop and get an ice cream or a coffee afterwards. It's one trip. You're not making two trips there. So only using 5% there, I think, is conservative as well. So when you total up those trips and the credits, we're going to generate 87 new entering and 82 new exiting trips in the morning peak hour of traffic, and 54 new entering and 51 new exiting trips in the afternoon peak hour. So we went ahead and we added those trips to our baseline background 2024 volumes, and we completed a capacity analysis at the signalized intersection of the Turnpike and the site driveway and Arrow Road. The capacity analysis indicated the intersection will operate at a level of service D during both peak hours. This is considered an acceptable level of service by the Department of Transportation. They typically consider A through D as acceptable operations. I wanted to note that the department is coming through with a project on the Berlin Turnpike. In fact, it's already started. They're replacing 15 traffic signals along this corridor, and they're going to be improving the coordination, the timings, the pedestrian accommodations at the intersections, and this intersection with Arrow Road and the site driveway is included. So When that goes in and gets done, and we're expecting it to be done before this redevelopment opens, that should improve further the safety and efficiency of operations at the intersection. We did measure sight lines coming out of the driveway. Now, the driveway is signalized, so people have to yield to the traffic signal, but there is a possibility someone could try to make a right turn on red out of the site. So we measured the sight distance looking left or south coming out of the driveway, and the sight distance we measured was 910 feet. The DOT requirement for sight distance is 610 feet for road with speeds of up to 55 miles per hour, such as the Berlin Turnpike. So we have safe egress there if somebody needs to make a right turn on red. So just to conclude the findings of our study, the additional traffic from this proposed mixed-use redevelopment can be accommodated safely by the traffic signal, and the proposed development is not expected to significantly impact traffic operations on the Berlin Turnpike. We just had a couple of recommendations that came out of the study, and Kevin alluded to one of them. We are recommending the driveway be striped for 2 exiting lanes. This is just to allow 2 cars to queue next to each other, so we can get more cars out when the light turns green. There'll be a shared left and through lane and a right lane coming out of the site. We also recommended, and this was actually the recommendation of your town engineer, we're going to stripe a double yellow center line and some skip lines curving into the site. This is just to better direct traffic flow in and out, given it's kind of a wide driveway there with a shared access with the hotel to the north. And we're also providing a truck apron here. So we wanted to try and narrow the pavement width as much as possible to make it safer for vehicles getting in and out of there, and not make it as wide, but at the same time, we need to accommodate those truck turns. So we felt the apron was the best way to do that. Lastly, and Meg Hope mentioned this earlier, we do have to go to the Department of Transportation for an encroachment permit, since we are proposing to work in the state right-of-way. So the DOT District 1 office will be reviewing this project thoroughly. If that gives you a level of comfort. That can occur, though, to answer your earlier question, that can't occur until after the Planning and Zoning Commission acts on this development. The District 1 office won't even accept the application until there's a decision in place. So with that concludes my presentation. And if you have any questions, either I can take them now, or I think we have one more speaker. I can take them at the end as well.
You really think Starbucks, you've considered it in your traffic evaluation thoroughly, considering the popularity of it, and considering this one, which I, as a regional planner formerly with the state, think that this is one of the best locations you could ever put a Starbucks? With the traffic from the south, from New Britain, from the college, from, all over the place. All coming east to get over the bridge and everything else.
You want to make a motion to approve now?
I said I was going to say this tonight, and I mean it, and I am saying it.
It is a great location for Starbucks. It's drawing from a heavy traffic volume.
I'm not a Starbucks user, but my daughter is, I know, so I'm familiar with it.
There's not a lot of sites on the turnpike that have access to
And I look at this thing in the Silas Deane, and they're hanging out on the highway half the time in the morning. So, I hope you're considering all that.
Yeah, and Kevin mentioned there's queue space for 14 vehicles there. The DOT actually did a thorough study on Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks drive-through queuing, and they recommended, the recommendation that came out of that study was for a queue storage of 14 vehicles, which is exactly what we have here.
Oh, so that's part of
the Starbucks only recommends 12 or more, so we're providing a little bit more there. So, and there's storage on the site to accommodate that queue without backup onto the turnpike.
Just
Yes.
explain to me a little bit better, this idea of the truck apron and how that works. You know, I understand that if you make it smaller, it's safer, but you're saying you can't because you gotta get trucks in. So what is the truck apron? How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to make the effective lane width for passenger cars entering and exiting this site narrower, so to better define the lanes and the flow of traffic coming in and out of the site. But if you make the lanes too narrow when the 50-foot tractor trailers come in to make their deliveries, they don't have enough room to negotiate the turn when they're coming off the turnpike. And they would literally bump up onto the curb or onto the grass. So what we did is we narrowed the actual paved width, but we provided this stamped concrete apron here on the westerly side of the driveway. So if a truck turns in coming northbound on the turnpike and they turn in and make this kind of U-turn type of thing towards the
So
site.
that's the same level as the pavement, it's not up?
Right, it's at the same level. It could be slightly elevated, or it could be like a mountable. We've done that before. I've done that before on other sites where they could bump up a little bit on it. It gives it a little more definition, but I think that's kind of a detail we'll work through as we complete the construction documents.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yes, Meg reminded me, we also did a shared parking analysis, and we provided 57 spaces on the site here, and I think if you go through the actual zoning regulations and you look at what would be required for each individual use on the site, I believe it was 64 spaces total, but what happens here is we have complementary uses on this site. So, you know, the Starbucks is generating a peak parking demand in the morning, but not as much demand later in the day, whereas you have the, you know, the sandwich shop and the ice cream shop that are generating more demand in the afternoon. So what we went through is we utilized, there's a methodology in the ITE parking generation manual where you look at the demand for each use based on industry data for each hour throughout the day. And you determine the maximum demand for each use throughout the day, and it differs. And you look at them all at the same time and calculate the total site parking demand. When you go through that exercise, the total shared parking demand for the site is 56 spaces. And we're providing one more than that, 57. So we've got a surplus of one space based on what the shared parking guidance tells us.
You don't have a commitment to the other three uses?
I
mean,
can't
the
answer that
actual
question.
businesses?
No, not yet.
So you don't know if some of them are gonna be high quality?
I'm sure they'll all be very
you know,
high quality.
The venue on the end.
Yeah.
And they might command more traffic, maybe, no?
Yeah, I mean, you know, these requirements are all, the trip rates, the parking rates are based on the type of use, so.
Yeah, I know you go to your books and look at that, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I think even if there's a little swapping out, it's gonna be within an order of magnitude. I mean, they're not gonna put a medical office building in here or
Might
something.
have one weaker
Right,
one
yeah.
and one more
Yeah.
higher end, yeah, okay, gotcha.
Right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Vince now. We got one more speaker. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Vincent Babick, architect. My partner Ed Diamond and I worked on the plans for this project with the rest of the team and Joe Sulo. I'll be informative but brief, hopefully, to show you what we've come up with. This is the plan of the building. That's Starbucks is on this north side here with the, you can see the drive-through, and then coming to the right, which would be south on the Berlin Turnpike being here, obviously, are the other three tenants. We've taken this building, we've given it an offset of 8 feet, so that it gives us a little more of a visual appeal. It's not just a block of a square building. It gives us, we have a little more of a interest visually by doing that. It also creates a space out in the front of the sandwich shop and Starbucks for outdoor dining that gives it a little more definition. You can see the outdoor dining here with some of the landscaped features out in front. Going to our rendering, this is as you're coming into the entrance drive from the north. Obviously, our Starbucks is our focal point of the project. Starbucks has a very specific palette of materials. There are several palettes. We've chosen one, which is called palette A. We thought this was the most appealing, for the project. And this is a board of the actual materials, but it's we have a wood top. This darker material looks darker here, but it's a dark gray top on the building. There's brick around the base that is the light gray, and then there's also some lighter wood underneath the canopy, gray stucco, and a gray palette of paint. We've taken those materials and kind of brought them around the building so that what we're trying to do is give the building the look of more of an ensemble of 3 distinct structures that complement each other, and have the continuity of the materials kind of running through. So the brick wraps around and forms the storefront of the sandwich shop, and then the 2 tenants to the south, we've introduced a material, a phenolic wood siding that forms this third structure towards the back, and that wraps around the building. If you look at the elevations,
The whole idea wraps around the back side too, you mean, or just?
yes, yeah, we're this gets a little small here, but this is our front where you can see the signage that is on the front of the building, Starbucks here, and then going around the back or to the end, and then this is wrapping around as you're going around the drive-through lane on the south side, the south elevation. The phenolic wood material would wrap onto that side. The brick continues at a half height, or a little more than a half height, with some brick detailing at the top, and then along the south side and the back, we're relying more on the stucco material, the ephes material, to kind of fill out those 2 sides. Material that looks nice, but is not quite as expensive. And then on the back, there's the same material is wrapping around until you get to the Starbucks at the end again at the end, and then the materials go back to the Starbucks palette of the wood siding, the brick, and the other the glass and the awnings that that are also shown here. And that's pretty much what we got here. If you got any questions on the materials or the.
And that's pretty much the color you're gonna have?
What is shown here is, that is the
Okay.
that is the palette that we're going with.
Yeah. Design reviews signed up on it?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
the plantings you show are more or less what you're going to have? Or is that just an artist's rendition?
We have tried to depict exactly what's shown on the site plans, you know, for landscaping. So our idea is to kind of, frame that outdoor dining area.
It looks nice, I just want to
Yeah.
make sure that that's what you were doing.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, Kevin's not gonna take it all away with waivers.
Now, we tried to, adhere to what Kevin had laid out on his drawings as much as possible.
Yeah, looks good.
All right, good. Any questions? All right, thank you.
All right, so there's just a couple things I wanted to touch on. First, we did get a memo from the town engineer, and we did submit a response today. I believe Denise printed it for everyone. I know it's getting late. I'm happy to go through those comments. There are about 12 of them that we don't have any issues with, so we could just kind of maybe jump to the ones that we are in disagreement with, I guess, with the town engineer. But I'm kind of open to do whatever the commission feels is the most helpful.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful. I
Okay.
mean, we all just got this.
Yeah.
Sometime
Sure.
in the last few hours.
Mhm.
And, you know, if you're looking for us to move on this tonight, I
Yeah.
think we need to have some understanding of what the open issues are.
Sure. So the first,
Excuse me,
yeah.
this is the 19 items that are in our packet, Mr. Chairman? Is that where we're going with this?
Yes.
Okay, by Derek, yeah, okay. got
No,
it.
to Derek from them. This is their response to Derek's last round of comments.
You should have a printed copy on your,
Yeah.
right next to your.
I just want to get on board.
Yeah, that
There's
looks
one
right.
here if you
This is
don't.
it here?
Yeah, that's it.
All
Mhm.
right.
All right, so I'll start.
Yeah, it's that one.
I'll start with the first. Yeah. The first item. The genesis of that is that when we went to the Wetlands Commission, we got an engineering memo from John Mills. We essentially did the same process, which is we got the memo from John, we typed up responses, we went item by item with the Wetlands Commission. They only adopted items 5, 6, 7, and 8 as conditions of approval. So here Derek is asking for us to address that memo. We don't feel like we need to address it any further because we addressed it with the commission and they selected the items that need to be conditions of approval. So I feel like that issue is closed out. For item number 2,
Excuse me,
sure.
and you're okay with the 5 to 8 that they
Correct.
attached?
Yes. Yes, we were okay and consented to those being conditions of approval. For item 2, Derek had requested some basically further definition of that entry point. Mark has already gone through those items, which is the mountable curb and also that a little addition of green space to the right-of-way. So we feel that we've met his recommendation enough based on the revised plans that we've presented tonight. Item 3, we do feel that he wanted us to provide written documentation that DOT reviewed and approved the assumptions in the traffic report, as Mark indicated and as we indicated in this response. We can't get anything formal from them until we submit, after we get local approval. He again asked for additional information on the level of their service and things like that. Again, we can't get that approval until DOT reviews the project. 3B, Derek recommended a double yellow line, and I'll just point to it. Oh, where we go? This one. Derek had recommended a double yellow line in this area here. So that's kind of crosses over from the DOT right away into the town right away, just to define which traffic is exiting and entering. Mark felt that doing a skipping line, which is a dashed line, was more appropriate because you could have traffic coming in and crossing to go to the motel. So I think we've kind of met his intent of that comment. So we're not going to do a double yellow line, but we will do the skipping line to define the traffic lanes while still allowing that cross traffic. We're fine with number 4. We did add the stop sign that Derek had wanted, which was over here, right here, coming from the motel, and we provided the 2 lanes, so we have no issue with number 4.
The stop sign is on your property?
No, the stop sign is actually in the DOT right-of-way, so here's that DOT line right here. So this would be traffic coming from the motel, trying to get to that signalized intersection. So we've added that here. Again, that would have to be approved by DOT as part of our encroachment permit, because that is in the right-of-way. But he had recommended a stop bar in that location.
Okay, just to control the flow of cars from your neighbor?
Correct. So from the motel, heading into this this kind of waiting area for people exiting the site. He had recommended a stop sign there, and Mark was okay with that addition to the plan.
Okay.
Number 5 was just providing him with some ITE information. We have no issue with that. Number 6, which is a comment that we have some disagreement on. The town engineer is recommending that we provide a sidewalk connection between the storefronts and the road, essentially. We did look at this, but there isn't a way that we can create a sidewalk connection without essentially eliminating parking spaces or eliminating, some type of island. So we would either need additional waivers for the parking spaces or additional waivers for the green space. And we felt that the site plan just worked better as it is. We're not anticipating a ton of pedestrian traffic coming off the turnpike or coming from the surrounding businesses. So we didn't think that striping in a huge crosswalk from the turnpike to the front of the site made any sense.
I don't like arguing with DOT's engineering outfit, but, why did they want that sidewalk to the north there of the driveway? Or did you guys suggest that?
So no, this little section of sidewalk here, my understanding is where's that?
Doesn't that add to the developer's cost? If you're not gonna put it in the rest of the Berlin Turnpike?
So
I think they are by what I see of those new lights they're putting in and the way they're handling it. It looks like they want to put sidewalks in along them.
So I think that all they're proposing, and I find this plan really hard to read, I might ask Mark, but what's happening here is I believe the crosswalk is coming across the north side of Berlin Turnpike, is that right here? So the crosswalk is coming here, so they're providing, a small connection so somebody can come off the crosswalk and be on a small concrete pad section of sidewalk. And then there's going to be another crosswalk coming across our entrance drive, and then again on the other side there'll be a small section of concrete where the pedestrian could, land.
Pedestrian ramps.
So
just making it all ADA.
I think they're required by the feds, aren't they?
But there are no.
Every time you move a piece of road now, you pave it, I think.
But there are no.
You gotta put them in.
There are no sidewalks on the Berlin Turnpike or Arrow Road.
No.
Right, okay.
These ramps are not connecting.
No, because
They're essentially allowing someone to cross from the Cumberland Farms towards our site and get in there.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like a fine balance between decades of designing things to discourage people from walking on the Berlin Turnpike and recognizing that people do.
Exactly.
And that kind of jumps into comment 7, where the town engineer recommended providing sidewalks across the entire frontage of the site. My understanding is Kevin had met with staff pretty early on in the process, and that was discussed, and it was decided that it didn't really make sense.
Also, you
with
got them
this.
to cut it back, the approval, huh?
Well,
Good.
So anyways,
Put 'em in, really.
we're not showing any sidewalks across the front. As was just stated, there's no sidewalks really anywhere north, south, east, or west. So those are two points that were diverging from the town engineer. We're fine with comment number 8, a note on the hydrodynamic separator. We're fine with comment number 9, although we do believe he means revised general note 3 on sheet 5, but we know what he's talking about, and we'll revise that. That's not an issue. Item 10 was a little bit of a head scratcher for us. The town engineer asked us to add a note to indicate that all the infrastructure, including but not limited to pavement, curbs, signs, and pavement marking within the Pent Road right-of-way would be privately owned and maintained. The only work we're proposing in the town's right-of-way is, it's very limited. We are proposing that skipping line right here, so we're doing 4 dashes, and we're proposing to bump out this area to provide further definition. That was at the town engineer's request. So we're fine with installing that. We don't think we need to take any of the obligation in maintaining that. There is town drainage structure that's in there. We're not tying into that. We're not adding to it. So we're not going to take any ownership or maintenance of those items. Not really sure where he was going with that comment, but did want him to be clear. There is some existing drainage and stuff in that right away. We're not touching that, and we're not adding to it. So we don't feel like we should need to maintain that at all. We're fine with comment number 9. We'll show the saw, or 11, sorry. We'll show the saw cutting on the final plans. Item 12, we did show the light pole locations, so we don't have an issue with that. We do have an issue with showing where the conduits are going to be located. That's something that typically comes after approval when we're designing the plans for the building permit. We'll get an electrical engineer or electrician involved. So we can't at this point show that information, but that obviously will be part of the building permit process. And then we're fine with the remaining comments, 13 through 19, no issues, and a lot of this was just kind of changing notes to the plan or labeling items. So we don't have any other issues with that. The main thing was really the sidewalks and the crosswalks and the maintenance of the town right-of-way, which we will not be taking over.
Yeah, I mean, those, just speaking for myself, those all seem reasonable positions.
And I think just to summarize, I really quickly wanted to go through the special permit criteria. So we do feel that our proposal's in harmony with the area, and it's in harmony with the size of the lot. We did get DRAC approval. We feel that the building is compatible to the other buildings in the area. It keeps the character as one that has a lot of businesses and different services for the community. We meet all the bulk requirements of the RC zone, so we feel that the size, the location, the height, they all are appropriate. We don't feel that it's going to hinder or discourage any of the other uses for the surrounding lots, and I think it's going to be very complementary and used quite frequently based on its location. Mark has indicated that there's adequate access and adequate parking. There will be that DOT review, which is another level of review, which will also provide some comfort for the commission. We have shown that the circulation of the site plan works. I'm not sure if Kevin mentioned, but we do have water, sewer, everything needed regarding public utilities. We've gone through the stormwater, and the drainage report has been submitted. We didn't get any comments on that, so that was good. We are not much in the way of natural features to protect with this particular site, but we are improving the stormwater from what's there, so it definitely is a bonus for the environment. We do not believe that our project will have any detrimental effects on public health, safety, or welfare. We are consistent with the POCD as we are redeveloping the Berlin Turnpike, encouraging business redevelopment, which are goals of the POCD. And I think we've demonstrated tonight that we have adequate lighting, landscaping, and other appropriate provisions for our project. So I think with that concludes our presentation. We're happy to answer any questions that the commission has.
Anybody to the left? Anybody to the right? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any waivers we have to look at?
Yeah, the landscaping and the lights, the photometrics.
That's it?
Yeah. All right, it is a public hearing. I think we've outlived the public. Is there anybody who wishes to speak on this application? All right. If not, any final comments?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Make a motion to close.
Second.
All right, motion by Jim, second by Joe to close the public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, hearing's closed. Does somebody want to make a motion to start conversation?
I'll make a motion for public hearing 2121-22-Z to approve as presented with the requested waivers, and also as presented the responses to the town engineer with no sidewalks, citing that the DOT is going to be doing a lot of work in that intersection in regards to the sidewalks, so no sidewalks. And am I missing anything?
I'll second.
Second.
Yeah, I think the only other thing would be in any other outstanding comments to be worked out between the applicant and staff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
All right, Denise, did you have anything?
I have nothing else to suggest as a condition of approval.
All right,
That should do it, Denise, you think? Covers it?
I think so.
Okay.
all right. Any discussion? Guess all I'll say is, this looks good, and thank you.
Yes, it does.
All right.
We look forward to, and does he mean
Well, we
he
haven't
wants
voted
to
yet.
start when he says he is?
Well, let's vote first and then.
Well, did Peter second it?
Yeah,
I did.
one of us did.
All right, now, somebody to the right of me seconded it. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Congratulations.
Good luck.
Can I ask the owner back there if he intends to start when he says he is?
When are you gonna start, Joe?
Tomorrow, if I can.
Tonight.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, what do we
Chris, I'll
have?
be in touch, okay?
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Solo.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I don't say that to developers too often, but I am to you tonight.
All right, minutes of August 16th.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes of August 16th.
Second.
Second.
All right. Yeah, really, everybody's lively now. Yeah, we'll give that one to Joe. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Staff report, anything?
I have nothing else to report right now.
Okay.
Is this the right point? I'm just curious, is anything going on with Boondoggle? I mean, I keep walking by there and I see no progress. Is there any news on that? I'm just curious.
I've probably, the last time I had contact with the applicant was about 3 weeks ago or a month ago, and still trying to work out some of the issues in terms of the engineering on Church Street for the additional parking spaces.
You're kidding? You're still on that?
So they've not gotten to the point where they've been able to submit revised engineered drawings to submit Mylars for the land records.
I think the way we left it is that we allowed him to use the 2 spaces in the front for handicapped, and he was gonna add some additional on Church Street, right? As a quid pro quo, right?
Yeah, they were gonna build 3 on Church Street.
Right,
and
so is he taking issue with that?
I don't think he's taking an issue, it's just, getting the drawings submitted to staff to be reviewed. I'm not privy to that issue.
He's objectionable to staff and everybody.
All right.
Anyway, what's going on in the Berlin Turnpike where they're tearing down?
I had noted at the last meeting that we had a contractor come in seeking a demolition permit for the diner property at 1676
They're doing
Berlin
it.
Turnpike. They did apply, and that should happen.
gone.
Yeah, it is
It's
actually
happening.
gone now. Okay, yeah.
So what are they putting in? You don't know?
They've not come with any kind of, it's not even that I can't say. The property is not, we've had no formal submissions at all, just informal conversations.
Oh, okay. Just I've been asked, that's why I'm asking.
I think they're hoping that that will help the marketability of the property.
Yeah, I
So
agree
in my
with you.
visit to this site, I went by the site that we approved, I don't know, almost a year ago, on Knott Street in the Berlin Turnpike.
Yes.
They were gonna put some sort of a car dealership there?
It was,
Building
yeah.
south of the
Yeah,
corner.
I saw that. What's going on with the dealership?
That's not going forward. They were not able to submit their Mylars because they ultimately were not going to be able to complete the project as presented to the commission in terms of all the facade and site improvements.
All right. Sounds like they ran out of money.
Yeah, or didn't have it in the first place.
Do we have anything other than the continued hearing at the next meeting?
I got an application this morning for a pre-application review for 657 Silas Deane, that's the former Rite Aid property. The reason it would come in as a pre-application review, they've requested to have the commission consider that property for a car wash. Car washes are not permitted in that zone, so they would first need to change the regulations to allow for car washes to be permitted in the town center zone. So they're gonna come in for some feedback and guidance from you next time.
Okay.
And you'll be ready to redefend why we have
I'll provide a map of the town center zone area.
What we meant
And
by it
essentially
all.
that would mean that you are opening up that zone to that type of use.
Yep, okay, good, thanks.
All right. Anything else? If not, I know Jim is aching to make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, no. I'll leave that to George.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
I should have thought about that, Joe.
You're bad.
That's not lawyer-esque. Don't you usually take a little longer to respond, consider, weigh your options?